Chapter 183. At the mention of xianxia, Night Sorrow was startled. Ninth senior sister, why are you bringing this up? Xianxia is a good girl. Not only is she beautiful, she's also very easy to get along with. Ninth senior sister and sixth senior sister both like her very much. You know, as a woman, it's easy to make a man like her, but it's hard to make a woman like her, Yang Lei said. Night Sorrow smiled and nodded. Hearing Yang Lei approve of xianxia, he was very happy. Then are you really not going to Crepe Myrtle? Yang Lei asked again. I'm really not going. When I go back this time, I'm going to break through to the 7th level of element gathering tier, then go to Danding Cliff to cultivate. I don't have time for useless things. Night Sorrow shook his head. Don't regret it. Crepe Myrtle is a place that many disciples of the Medicine Valley want to go for a walk. It's only because they're too fierce that male disciples are forbidden from entering, Yang Lei said with a smile. The two of them casually chatted for a while, then Night Sorrow took out the bearskin and spread it on the ground. He sat down in a corner and began to cultivate. Seeing Night Sorrow sit down, Yang Lei shook her head and also began to cultivate. She admired Night Sorrow's persistence. Many people found it difficult to cultivate because they rejected cultivating. After all, it was a dry and boring process. But Yang Lei found that Night Sorrow didn't reject it at all. Instead, he enjoyed it. After cultivating for an entire night, Night Sorrow woke up early to cultivate his spear arts. After entering the 5th level of muscle strengthening, Night Sorrow's spear arts were even more powerful than before. Every strike of his spear caused the sound of the air being torn apart. After cultivating his spear arts for a while, Night Sorrow went to roast the prey that Xianhu had caught. At this time Yang Lei, who had gone to the stream to wash up, also returned. Your Xianhu is really smart. But it's a bit hard to serve cooked food. Yang Lei's azure condor caught its own prey and ate it directly, unlike Night Sorrow's Xianhu who ate cooked food. After cleaning up, the two of them set off towards the Venerable Lushan's cave to investigate. It would be great if I could get the Venerable Lushan's Killing Fist Manual, Night Sorrow muttered as he walked. What Shatter Kill Fist Manual? Yang Lei, who was following behind Yishang, asked. A while ago I bought a book about people in Danding City. I know that 2,000 years ago, the Venerable Lushan's famous techniques were the Gale Blade and Killing Fist. I'm not interested in the Gale Blade, but I do need a fist technique. The Mountain Crushing Fist consumes too much energy, Night Sorrow said. True. Your body is tyrannical. You really do need a fist technique for close combat. Yang Lei also knew about Night Sorrow's situation. Having a fist technique would definitely increase his combat strength. 2 hours later, the two of them arrived at the location indicated on the treasure map. This was a cliff, and in front of the cliff was an open space that was filled with violent energy. It's here, Yishan said as he closed the treasure map. Yes, it really is here. After so many years, the formations have fallen into disarray. Yang Lei nodded. Night Sorrow took out a formation diagram. It was the yin-yang formation diagram. He had exchanged it from Enforcer Dong. Night Sorrow and Yang Lei squatted on the ground and began to study the yin-yang formation. J latest $chapters D sections $W13. To set up a complete yin-yang formation, we will need hundreds of spiritual stones. However, we don't need to set it up or repair it completely. We just need to replace the important bases with spiritual stones so that the formation can operate normally for a day or two. Yang Lei spoke her thoughts. That's what I was thinking. Let's just fill the 18 array bases with spirit stones according to the array diagram. Yishan took out a mid-grade spirit stone and said, Looks like you are well prepared. Let's begin. Yang Lei nodded. Holding the spiritual stone, Night Sorrow looked at the chaotic energy according to the diagram. Then he threw a spiritual stone in the direction he estimated and smashed it into the ground. When the spiritual stone was thrown in, the chaotic energy stabilized a little and then began to surge again. 13 Hurry up. Otherwise, the spiritual stone you just threw in will be drained of its energy and shatter. Yang Lei reminded Night Sorrow. After hearing Yang Lei's words, Night Sorrow kept throwing out spiritual stones with his right hand. When all 18 spiritual stones were thrown out, the chaotic energy in front of the cliff stabilized. When the energy stabilized, a stone tablet appeared in front of the cliff. On it there were 4 simple words, Foothill Mountain Cave Mansion. Not bad. You guessed it right. However, we have to hurry up. I'm afraid these mid-grade spiritual stones won't last long. Yang Lei said. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go. Night Sorrow took the diagram and approached the cliff according to the diagram. The yin-yang formation was not a very advanced formation, but it was very violent. Once it was triggered, it would be killed by the chaotic energy. Carefully passing through the formation area, the two of them arrived in front of the stone tablet with the words, Foothill Mountain Cave Mansion. You stay behind. Yang Lei stopped Night Sorrow, who was about to enter the cave mansion. She led the way in front because she was afraid of danger. One had to know that people who had experienced a long period of cultivation had very strange personalities. It was normal for them to leave behind some killing moves. Night Sorrow carried the reincarnation spear and followed behind Yang Lei. The cave mansion was very dark. Fortunately, Yang Lei often went out to train in the past. Her storage ring was relatively well prepared. She took out 2 torches and lit them. She handed one to Night Sorrow. As they went deeper, the two of them entered a hall. It was a stone hall. Soon after, Night Sorrow shivered. He saw 2 small lanterns in the hall. They were green lanterns. There was only one possibility for such a green light. It was the eyes of a demonic beast. Yang Lei waved her arm and inserted the torch into one of the walls of the hall, illuminating the hall. Night Sorrow saw what it was when the hall lit up. It was a lizard that was 5 feet tall and 4 to 5 feet long. 13 Back off. This is a mid-stage 4th rank blue-eyed lizard. It is very poisonous. I will kill it first. Yang Lei took out her black sword. Senior sister, could it be the spirit beast guarding this place? Night Sorrow asked. If it was really a cave-guarding spirit beast, then there was no need to kill it. Impossible. Foothill Mountain Venerable was a figure from 2,000 years ago. This fellow is only a mid-stage 4th rank. It only has a few hundred years of life. There is no relationship between the two. It is a sparrow occupying a dove's nest. It came in through a hole. While speaking, the blue-eyed lizard attacked Yang Lei. However, it was knocked back by Yang Lei's sword and a bloody wound appeared on its head. The blue-eyed lizard's mid-stage 4th rank cultivation was very strong. However, its opponent was even stronger. It was Yang Lei who was at the 5th rank. They were not on the same level. After repelling the blue-eyed lizard with one sword, Yang Lei took the initiative to attack. If it was not a cave-guarding spirit beast, then there was no need to keep it alive. Chapter 184. Yang Lei swung her sword a few times, and the sword aura left several deep wounds on the blue-eyed lizard's head and neck. At that moment, Night Sorrow also saw the cave that Yang Lei had mentioned. On the east side of the rock hall, there was a big black hole with some messy sand and stones. It was obvious that the hole had been dug later on. After being injured, the blue-eyed lizard wanted to escape. How could Yang Lei let it escape? She flashed to the front of the cave and slapped the blue-eyed lizard's head with her left hand. With a muffled sound, the mid-stage class 4 blue-eyed lizard was killed by Yang Lei. Its head was smashed by the cloud-turning palm. It's quite savage. Yang Lei took 2 steps back to avoid the blood of the turquoise-eyed lizard from splashing onto her body. This is because senior sister followed me here. Otherwise, this thing would have taken my life, said Yishan. Advanced cultivators choose cave abodes with dense spirit energy. Lushan Venerable's cave abode is in the area with the most spirit energy. The blue-eyed lizard couldn't pass through the chaotic area in front of the cave abode, so it could only dig its way in, Yang Lei said as she glanced at the blue-eyed lizard's corpse. After taking out the Fey Illustrated Handbook and taking a look, Night Sorrow went forward to collect the blue-eyed lizard's gallbladder, heart blood, 4 poisonous fangs, and the poison sac under the fangs. These were the last valuable items on the blue-eyed lizard's body. Senior sister, you can keep these materials. After collecting the materials, Night Sorrow didn't put them away for himself. I don't need these. Just keep them. Let's continue looking inside. Yang Lei shook her head. Night Sorrow didn't say anything more and put the materials away. After putting away the materials, Night Sorrow and Yang Lei started to observe the hall. This hall was where Lushan Venerable used to live. There was a stone table, stone chairs, and some jade artifacts on the table. They were very valuable in the eyes of ordinary people, but Night Sorrow wasn't interested. Behind the stone table was an arched door, and behind it was where Lushan Venerable cultivated. Night Sorrow and Yang Lei entered the arched door with torches and discovered a different scene. The decorations were very luxurious. The floor was made of jade, the bed was made of jade, and there was a small tea table on the jade bed. There were some jade tea sets and a storage ring on the tea table. So many jades, does he want to eat them like food? Yishang, who was holding a torch, muttered. That's because you don't understand. Jade has the effect of calming the mind, so cultivators like to use jade as daily necessities. Take a look at this storage ring. Yang Lei reached out and threw the storage ring to Yishang. Senior sister, can't you just take a look? Night Sorrow said. This is your opportunity. It's fated. I can't steal the limelight. It will hurt your luck, Yang Lei said to Night Sorrow. Hearing Yang Lei's words, Night Sorrow picked up the storage ring and dripped blood on it to claim ownership. Everything went smoothly. Senior sister Lushan Venerable is dead. I didn't have any trouble claiming ownership, Night Sorrow said. I just sensed it. The original owner of the storage ring must have removed the claim. There is no aura left on it. Normally, when the owner of the storage ring dies, there will be some aura left, Yang Lei explained. Night Sorrow started to check the storage ring. Then Night Sorrow laughed and took out 3 books. One of them was the Killing Fist Manual. Senior sister, there really is the Killing Fist Manual, Night Sorrow said excitedly. At the same time he passed the other 2 books to Yang Lei. SM Yong Qhjiu, Th Look 3 say, your luck is really heaven-defying. Gale Blade Technique, this is the Heaven Essence Chi Refining Scripture. They are all incredible books. What else do you have? Yang Lei took a look at the book and threw it back to Night Sorrow. Elixirs. There are some elixirs. There are also some refining materials and weapons. Night Sorrow took out everything in the storage ring. Night Sorrow and Yang Lei started to study. What made Night Sorrow and Yang Lei happy was that there were level 4 spirit calming pills and level 5 clear void pills. There were also healing pills and antidote pills. Among them there was the profound tranquility pill, which could directly raise one's cultivation by 4 stages, and the void pill, which could raise one's cultivation by 5 stages. There were a few of each. In addition, there were nearly 100 high-grade spirit stones and a few top-grade spirit stones. Ninth senior sister, these things are very valuable. Night Sorrow looked at Yang Lei and said, don't say that you want to give them away. These are yours, Yang Lei said. She did not want Night Sorrow to say anything. But I can't use these. Night Sorrow said. They are still yours. Tidy them up and put them away. Yang Lei's words did not allow Night Sorrow to refute. Night Sorrow could only tidy up the elixirs and put them away. Then the 2 of them left the small room. 13. Protect the resources well. You have to know that a man's wealth is his own ruin, Yang Lei said as she patted Night Sorrow's shoulder. But since senior sister has come with me, I can't let her come for nothing. Here are 5 void pills that can raise your cultivation base. Yishang took out the void pills. 13. Let me give you an example. Our relationship is the same. If you give it to 9th senior sister, will you feel embarrassed when you see other senior brothers and sisters? No one will say anything but you will feel embarrassed. So, don't give it to anyone, understand? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and said earnestly. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and felt that Yang Lei's words made sense, but it was not very appropriate. 9th senior sister, even if I reach level 5 I can still eat 1 or 2 clear void pills. There are still a few here. 9th senior sister needs 1 to reach level 5. You don't have to say anything. Night Sorrow took out a clear void pill and handed it to Yang Lei. Yang Lei smiled and reached out to take it. She understood that this was Night Sorrow's intention. If she did not take it, Night Sorrow would not give up. In addition, Night Sorrow also talked about the disposal of the cultivation methods. He did not need the Gale Blade and Heaven Essence Chi Refining Scripture. When they returned, he would let Yu study them and exchange them for resources. Although Night Sorrow did not cultivate these 2 ancient books, they were high-level ancient books. The value was very high. They could be exchanged for the ancient books that Night Sorrow needed. After tidying up, the 2 of them left the immortal cave. In the middle, the 2 of them cleaned up twice for fear of missing anything. Standing at the entrance of the immortal cave, Yang Lei looked at the ground in front of the cliff and thought for a moment. 13. There are a lot of spirit stones underground. Based on the intensity of the energy storm just now, there might be high-grade spirit stones underground. We have to dig them out. These are all resources. You should know that when Ao Yushan gave you 30 high-grade spirit stones, that was the entire wealth of the Ao family. There are more than 30 spirit stones underground. Then what are we waiting for? Let's study it and break the array formation. We will be rich. Night Sorrow was worried that Yang Lei would not want it, so he deliberately said that they would be rich. Chapter 185. After studying the diagram for a while, Night Sorrow and Yang Lei still couldn't understand it. At first, they had only used spiritual stones to patch up the base of the formation. Now, it was very difficult to break the formation. Lushan Venerable had only left behind the diagram for the later generations to enter the formation. There was no way to break the formation. This gave Night Sorrow and Yang Lei a headache. They didn't know much about formations. On Taishan Peak, only Yu Yangyu and Aoi knew about formations. No one else could. Break it with violence. Yang Lei was a little angry, so she made a decision. Ninth senior sister, will it be dangerous? Night Sorrow was worried. Yang Lei then told him her idea. Before the formation was activated, they had to destroy the base of the yin and yang formation by force. Yang Lei took out her long sword and asked Night Sorrow to step back. Then, she quickly drew her sword with her right hand and slashed 4 times at a corner of the ground in front of the cliff. 4 streaks of sword chi cut through the ground as if they were plowing the ground. The ground was overturned. As soon as the 4 streaks of sword chi appeared, the energy in front of the cliff started to roll. However, it disappeared after a while because Yang Lei had destroyed a corner of the formation. Alright, come out and dig for spirit stones. Seeing that there were no more problems, Yang Lei beckoned Yishang over. Night Sorrow came out with his barbecued meat knife and started digging with Yang Lei. Now that they knew where the base of the formation was, they dug much faster. In an hour, they had dug out more than 60 top-grade spiritual stones and 6 supreme-grade spiritual stones. Not bad at all. The quality of these spiritual stones is better than the ones we usually see, Yang Lei said as she looked at the spiritual stones. It seems that the energy explosion didn't damage the spiritual stones. Night Sorrow nodded. That's right. Using spirit stones to set up a formation absorbs the energy of heaven and earth. It doesn't consume the spirit stones themselves. The energy here is chaotic because of the changes in nature which cause the stones to shift, causing the positions of the spirit stones to be disrupted. However, it's not damaged yet. Keep it. Yang Lei looked at the potholes that were dug out by the 2 of them. She then turned around to look at the spirit stones and said, I don't want it anymore. I just got a lot of spirit stones, Night Sorrow said. You rascal, let's do as you say. Let's work together to make a fortune. We'll split it in half. Don't say anything else. Yang Lei immediately made the decision. In fact, this was also Night Sorrow's intention. He knew that if he directly asked Yang Lei to take half of it, she would definitely not agree. After packing up, the 2 of them got on their flying mounts. Tianyu and the green condor were familiar with each other, so they didn't attack each other and stayed close to each other. 13. Senior sister has profited greatly from following you this time, Yang Lei said as she looked at Night Sorrow. W/new fastest B/B/G. Not as much as I have. Come, senior sister, take this. Night Sorrow threw a jar of wine to Yang Lei and then opened a jar for himself. Indeed, your luck is really heaven-defying. Now you have enough resources to use. Yang Lei said with a smile. Yes, it is indeed enough. Senior sister, do you cultivate the killing fist? Night Sorrow asked as he drank a mouthful of wine. You cultivate it. It is better for a woman to cultivate something gentler. Yang Lei opened the jar of wine and smelled it. Ninth senior sister, do you cultivate something gentler? Is the heaven-covering hand gentle? After listening to Yang Lei's words, Night Sorrow smiled. Don't talk about my shortcomings. You should know that I am not cultivating a sword art now. Yang Lei glared at Night Sorrow. Then take the Heaven Essence Chi refining scripture and the Gale Blade and exchange it for a better sword art. Night Sorrow spoke out his thoughts. 13. Do you know what the Heaven Essence Chi refining scripture means? It is an ancient book that can be cultivated up to the 6th rank. If we had not found the sacred cauldron scripture, the Heaven Essence Chi refining scripture could be used as the treasure book of our sect. Yang Lei felt that Night Sorrow had not discovered the preciousness of the Heaven Essence Chi refining scripture, so she reminded Night Sorrow. Then we will leave it to Master to deal with. If any of us need a cultivation method, we can exchange it. Night Sorrow said. Yang Lei nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow really did not need these cultivation methods. Night Sorrow had the complete version of the sacred cauldron scripture, so there was no problem for him to cultivate Jin Chi. As for battle skills, Night Sorrow had the chasing wind spear art, dragon soaring 9 heavens movement art, following cloud movement art, heaven covering hand, and the killing fist art that he had just obtained. These were enough. After 2 days, Night Sorrow and Yang Lei returned to Danding City. When they arrived, it was already dark. Night Sorrow did not hand in the task and directly went to live in Yang Lei's mansion. When Yang Lei went to teach the disciples, Night Sorrow decided to go into seclusion. After all, he had nothing to do tonight. After teaching the disciples for a while, Yang Lei found out that Night Sorrow had gone to cultivate when she asked Night Sorrow to have a meal together. After spending a whole night, Night Sorrow raised his cultivation level to the 7th level of element gathering tier. After stabilizing his cultivation level for an entire morning, Night Sorrow walked out of his room. Master, why can't I see 13th uncle's cultivation level? Jiang Ziming, who was standing beside Yang Lei, asked. Your 13th uncle is now in the 7th level of element gathering tier. You've just reached the 3rd level. What the hell can you see? Yang Lei glared at Jiang Ziming. 7th level of element gathering tier? 13th uncle has reached the 7th level of element gathering tier? Jiang Ziming's mouth was wide open. He could not believe that Night Sorrow's speed could be so fast. Ninth senior sister, I plan to hand in the task, Night Sorrow said. Then go. I'll wait for you for lunch, Yang Lei said to Night Sorrow. She did not plan to go with Night Sorrow. After all, the city lord's mansion was very close to Tianji Tower. Moreover, she knew that there were some things between Night Sorrow and Tianji Tower that were not convenient for outsiders to know about. Night Sorrow nodded and arrived at Tianji Tower. Seeing Night Sorrow, the woman who knew Night Sorrow went to look for Enforcer Dong. Soon, Enforcer Dong appeared in the hall. You've completed all the tasks? Yes. Enforcer Dong, help me collect them and see if I've reached the silver level, Night Sorrow said. Enforcer Dong then collected Night Sorrow's tasks. After calculating for a while, Enforcer Dong nodded. That's enough. You're the fastest cultivator in the Eastern Shen domain to advance from the Iron Token to the Silver Token. Enforcer Dong recorded Night Sorrow's information, then changed the token to the silver level. Night Sorrow, can I ask you something? Enforcer Dong asked. Enforcer Dong, you don't have to be so formal. Just say what you want to say. Night Sorrow was a little puzzled. Enforcer Dong had never spoken like this before. He was always straightforward. Why did he seem a little hesitant today? Did you complete all the tasks by yourself? Enforcer Dong asked. Yes. Sometimes, my senior brother and senior sister followed me because they were worried that the people of Golden Flame sect would attack me. I completed all the tasks by myself. It's genuine and can be investigated, Night Sorrow said with a frown after hearing Enforcer Dong's words. Don't worry. Even if others helped you complete the tasks, it's still effective. However, you're a purple follower, so Tianji Tower will definitely investigate. If it's not your own efforts, it will lower their evaluation of you, Enforcer Dong said. Don't worry. I did it by myself, Night Sorrow said. Chapter 186. 7th level of element gathering tier, a silver token holder. That's really amazing. I thought you'd reach core formation tier first, then silver tier, Enforcer Dong said with a smile. Look at section *G of the original chapter. I won't delay either. I'll do missions and cultivate at the same time. It doesn't matter which one reaches first, Night Sorrow said. After chatting with Enforcer Dong for a while, Night Sorrow returned to Yang Lei's mansion. He roasted and fed Tianyu the corpses of the demonic beasts bought by the servants. In Yang Lei's mansion there were many third-generation disciples, but none of them dared to approach Night Sorrow. In their eyes, this martial uncle who had entered the sect only a year earlier than them was a monster. It was better not to get close to him. 13. How's the situation? Yang Lei, who had finished dealing with matters in the city lord's mansion, returned. Night Sorrow took out the silver token and waved it in front of Yang Lei. It's done. I don't have to do missions for a while. Not bad. You need to stabilize your cultivation, then take the yuan increasing pill and cultivate, Yang Lei said to Night Sorrow. I plan to go to Dragon Spring Courtyard to cultivate. I'll return to the sect to see Master in a few days, Night Sorrow said. 6th senior sister has just accepted a disciple, so she's a bit busy. She doesn't have time to accompany you at Dragon Spring Courtyard. Take care of yourself, Yang Lei said after thinking for a while. She knew that in terms of cultivation environment, her place was far inferior to Dragon Spring Courtyard. Nodding, Night Sorrow jumped onto Tianyu's back and flew towards Dragon Spring Courtyard. After returning to Dragon Spring Courtyard and arranging things for Tianyu, Night Sorrow entered the main hall and saw an unexpected person. It was the Grand Elder of Medicine Valley, Hua Yunpeng. Little guy, you're really troublesome, Hua Yunpeng, who was drinking tea, said. Grand Elder, why are you here? Night Sorrow hurriedly bowed in greeting. I've been quiet for a while, so I came out for a walk. The environment here is pretty good. I want to stay here for a while. Is that okay? Hua Yunpeng put down the teacup in his hand and asked. Of course. Supreme Elder can stay as long as he wants, Night Sorrow said. Not bad, you've entered the 7th level of element gathering tier. Your foundation is very stable, and the qi and blood in your body are even more vigorous than before. You've indeed improved a lot, Hua Yunpeng evaluated as he sized up Night Sorrow. After chatting with Hua Yunpeng for a while and telling Hai Luo to take good care of Hua Yunpeng, Night Sorrow returned to his room. Night Sorrow didn't find Hua Yunpeng's visit strange. There was a natural formation in Dragon Spring Courtyard that could calm one's mind. It was normal for Hua Yunpeng to come here to find an opportunity to break through. Actually, Hua Yunpeng had been here for a few days. When Night Sorrow left Medicine Valley, Hua Yunpeng arrived at Danding City. After asking around, he found out that Hua Yunpeng had gone out with Yang Lei, so he didn't pay any attention to him. He didn't believe that Golden Flame sect could send a 5th-level martial artist to kill Night Sorrow. When Yang Lei was at the 4th level, she could defeat almost all her opponents at the same level. Now that she had entered the 5th level, even a few 4th-level martial artists would be useless. Then he went to Night Sorrow's Dragon Spring Courtyard. Today he was very satisfied to see Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was truly unfazed. After entering his room, Night Sorrow ate a yuan increasing pill and began to cultivate. He planned to raise his cultivation to the peak of 7th level of yuan gathering realm as soon as possible. Then he would go to Danding Cliff to refine his cultivation. After that, he would be able to advance to 8th level of yuan gathering realm. After hearing Enforcer Dong's words, Night Sorrow knew that he still had a long way to go before he could be blacklisted by Tianji Tower. If he entered the core condensation realm, then he would definitely be blacklisted by Tianji Tower. Through his understanding, Night Sorrow knew that blacklisted people would definitely be recruited by Tianji Tower. They could be considered as Tianji Tower's people. However, before the 4th level, there was no position assigned to them. Below the 4th level, their abilities were limited and Tianji Tower didn't need them. Night Sorrow cultivated silently. Every day Hua Yunpeng either fished or teased Silver Fox. After Aoi left, Hai Luo and Luo Wei took care of Silver Fox. With Night Sorrow's instructions, Silver Fox Cub didn't dislike Hai Luo and Luo Wei. What surprised Hai Luo and Luo Wei was that Silver Fox Cub was very willing to be with Hua Yunpeng. What they didn't know was that Hua Yunpeng cultivated the Tao of Inaction. He had already reached the Tao of Unity, so Silver Fox Cub felt close to him. It took Night Sorrow 3 days to completely refine the yuan increasing pill and raise his true chi cultivation to the peak of 7th level of yuan gathering realm. After coming out of the room, Night Sorrow went to Celestial Water Lake to take a bath. Then he returned to the martial arts field and began to study the Killing Fist. The Killing Fist focused on momentum, killing the opponent in one go. The technique was Wave Force, which was true chi bombarding the opponent in waves. There was still a difference between it and Shock Force. Shock Force was true chi bursting out at the same time, while Wave Force was attacking the opponent in waves. After studying the Slaughtering Fist manual for a while and memorizing the cultivation method and techniques, Night Sorrow put away the manual and began to cultivate his fist technique. Night Sorrow closed his eyes and kept punching forward, trying to find the feeling of Wave Force. Watching Night Sorrow cultivate, Hua Yunpeng frowned. He didn't understand why Night Sorrow, who cultivated the spear art, would cultivate the fist art. Standing there without moving, Night Sorrow kept punching. Sometimes it was fast and sometimes it took him a long time to punch once. He was trying to figure out the wave force in the fist art. Night Sorrow hadn't moved since he stood there in the morning. Only in the evening did Night Sorrow stop and go to the dining room to eat. "Aren't you tired after cultivating for a whole day?" Hua Yunpeng, who followed Night Sorrow into the dining room, asked. "Not tired, it's okay," Night Sorrow said while eating. Not bad at all." Hua Yunpeng didn't expect Night Sorrow's answer to be like this. "Little Six, take care of Tianyu and Silver Fox." After instructing Little Six, Night Sorrow went back to his room to cultivate. Whether Hua Yunpeng was there or not, it didn't affect him much. Hua Yunpeng shook his head. He understood why Yu Yangyu, who hadn't accepted a disciple for many years, accepted Night Sorrow as his last disciple. If it were him, he would have accepted him too. In accepting a disciple, talent was important, but temperament was the most important. This was something all high-level cultivators knew. After cultivating True Chi and the Myriad Dao Tome for an entire night, Night Sorrow woke up early and began to cultivate the Killing Fist art. Feeling the cool breeze blowing from the Skywater Lake, Night Sorrow was touched. If he wanted to cultivate Wave Force, he would feel it in the water. With this idea in mind, Night Sorrow went to the Skywater Lake. He took off his outer robe and stood in the water. First he felt the impact of the waves, then he slowly punched out. This made Hua Yunpeng, who was holding the fishing rod, feel helpless. How could he fish like this? He might as well just watch Night Sorrow cultivate. After cultivating for 2 hours, Night Sorrow finally felt the characteristics of Wave Force. He then jumped onto the shore and began to execute the Killing Fist art. Whether it was cultivating secret arts or cultivating combat skills, the most difficult thing was to get started. Once you got started, the rest would be easy. Chapter 187. Knight Sorrow could be considered to have mastered the shattering killing fist technique. Every battle skill had a corresponding cultivation method, but even if you had the cultivation method, you might not be able to successfully master it. This required talent and comprehension. For example, the Heaven Covering Hand Manual was in the Medicine Valley Scripture Pavilion, but only the Taishan Peak disciples, Xianxia and Yanglei, and the new disciple Knight Sorrow were able to cultivate it. The shattering killing fist technique was the same. Even if some people had the shattering killing fist technique manual, they still wouldn't be able to successfully master it. The shattering killing fist technique without the wave force was no different from an ordinary fist technique. After mastering the wave force and knowing how to circulate it, Knight Sorrow's cultivation became much easier. Knight Sorrow's fists continuously punched out. The true chi in his body was like a wave pouring into his hands. This fight lasted for 15 minutes. The reason he stopped was because the true chi in Knight Sorrow's dantian had been used up. With a low roar, Knight Sorrow's body once again moved. His fists alternated as he punched out. This time he used the 5th level of the muscle strengthening stage's energy from the Myriad Dao treasured tome. The time he could last was a bit shorter than when he used true chi. After completely exhausting his true chi and the energy in his body, Knight Sorrow returned to his room to continue cultivating. What Knight Sorrow didn't know was that Hua Yunpeng was stunned. He had never seen such a fist technique before. Hua Yunpeng could feel the wave force on Knight Sorrow's fists. He knew that this was because he hadn't met any obstacles. Once he met any obstacles, the wave force would explode. What shocked him the most was that after exhausting his true chi by relying on the energy in his body, Knight Sorrow was still able to continue punching for nearly 15 minutes. This was simply unimaginable. This wasn't a problem of the strength of his body, but rather the fact that Knight Sorrow's body contained a very powerful energy. Knight Sorrow did not expect Hua Yunpeng's reaction at all. After returning to his room, he ate a leopard embryo tendon strengthening pill and began his cultivation. Currently, his true chi had reached the peak of the 7th level of element gathering tier. What he needed now was to stabilize his true chi. However, there was still a lot of room for improvement in the 10,000 Tao treasured tome. In the next few days, Knight Sorrow continued to consolidate his cultivation base at the peak of the 7th level of element gathering tier while practicing the 10,000 Tao tome and the killing fist art. The current shattering kill fist in Knight Sorrow's hands was truly lethal. Even if Knight Sorrow's body and fist did not move, the following wave force would be able to shatter the mountain rock. If the first wave force did not shatter, the following wave force would continue to attack until the target collapsed. This was completely different from oscillating force. Oscillating force could only be used once. If it could be shattered, then it would be shattered. If it couldn't be shattered, then it couldn't be shattered. After mastering the shattering kill fist art, Knight Sorrow did not want to stay in the Dragon Spring courtyard any longer. He planned to go to Danding Cliff to consolidate his cultivation base and then break through. After packing up, Knight Sorrow greeted Hua Yunpeng, "Grand Elder, I plan to go to the sect's Danding Cliff to cultivate. If you need anything, just let them know." "Alright, then you can go back first. Remember, don't run around. Wherever you go, you must inform your elders." Hua Yunpeng nodded and reminded Knight Sorrow. He did not plan to go back to the sect with Knight Sorrow. He needed to calm down and organize his thoughts. Riding on the Qianyu, Knight Sorrow first arrived at Yang Lei's residence in Danding City. "You're planning to go back to the sect?" Seeing Knight Sorrow, Yang Lei asked. "Yes, senior sister. What about you?" "I plan to hand in the ancient book. If you need anything, I'll tell Master." Knight Sorrow planned to give the Qianyuan Qi refining scripture and the Gale Blade Dao art to Yu Yangyu and then exchange them for some resources for his senior brother and senior sister. "If possible, help me exchange the Wind and Thunder Sword art." "I don't know if it's possible, but I'll go back with you," Yang Lei said after thinking for a while. She also wanted to go back and take a look. The Wind and Thunder Sword art was the ultimate skill of the Medicine Valley. It could not be obtained without outstanding contributions. Even the heaven-ranked disciples were not qualified to cultivate it. In the Medicine Valley, only the Valley Master and the Grand Elder could cultivate it. Yang Lei wanted to cultivate this sword art. However, if the price was too high, she planned to give up. After all, she was paying Knight Sorrow's resources. She had to control the price herself. If she did not go back, regardless of the price, Knight Sorrow would exchange it for her. Yang Lei was sure of this. After informing by Qingshan and Ao Yushan, Yang Lei and Knight Sorrow rushed to the Medicine Valley. Seeing Yang Lei and Knight Sorrow riding the Green Eagle and Qianyu leaving Ao Yushan's side, He was now a deputy city lord. He even felt that he was wronged when he was the city lord. There was no way he could compare with Yang Lei when he was the city lord. When he was the city lord, he did things cautiously. There were many things that he did not dare to do. For example, when he patrolled the city, he had to sit in a beast carriage and patrol for a few days. Most KK New UJ chapter, xuanhuan, however, after Yang Lei became the city lord, she immediately announced that her mount and the mount she chose could fly. Ao Yushan did not have the courage to do so. He was mainly afraid that the sect would punish him. However, Yang Lei was not afraid and did not punish him. After half a day, Night Sorrow and Yang Lei arrived at the Danding Peak Hall in the Medicine Valley. Night Sorrow saw Yu Yangyu, the first elder, the second elder, Qianwu and Su Qinbai in the hall. Master, I? Night Sorrow bowed and was about to speak. Ahem. Master, 13 and I are here to greet you. Yang Lei coughed and interrupted Night Sorrow when Night Sorrow was about to speak. 13, your cultivation has increased well. It is very solid, the first elder said as he tapped the ground with his cane. Qinbai, go to the Merit Hall to supervise the doubling of the resources for all disciples in the Medicine Valley this year. We will discuss the matter of Danding City here, Qianwu said. Qianwu spoke. He already knew about Su Qinbai's background, so he knew that he needed to send Su Qinbai away. I will do it right away. Su Qinbai was very annoyed, but he still bowed and went to do it. 13, do you have something to tell me? Yu Yangyu knew that Night Sorrow had something to say when Yang Lei coughed. Yes, disciple obtained an ancient book. Normally, disciple shouldn't negotiate with the sect, but I want to exchange it for some battle skills for senior brother and senior sister, said Yushan. Let me see what technique it is. Yu Yangyu wasn't unhappy that Night Sorrow wanted to negotiate. He was happy that Night Sorrow was thinking for his senior brother and sister, but he was the valley master and had to maintain his dignity. Night Sorrow handed the Qianyuan refining scripture to Yu Yangyu. Yu Yangyu looked at it carefully and flipped through a few pages. When he saw that it was a 6th level cultivation technique, Yu Yangyu's expression changed. He then handed the scripture to the first elder. This is an ancient book. Look at the color of the animal skin. It is quite old. If it is not fake, it can be used as a sect guarding scripture. Where did you get it? The first elder was a little excited after looking at it carefully. This is the scripture of Lushan's supremacy. I got it by chance. As for whether it is real or fake, I don't think anyone can reach the 6th level, Night Sorrow answered directly. Chapter 188. That is indeed the case. The value of this book is immeasurable. 13, do you have any requests? The great elder asked after handing the book to Qianwu. I would like to exchange it for the combat skills that senior brother and senior sister need, mainly the wind and thunder sword technique. Night Sorrow bowed to the great elder. Don't you need anything for yourself? Qianwu, who had yet to read the book, asked. I don't need anything for myself. If Master and the elders feel that this book isn't enough, I have another one here. Night Sorrow took out the Gale Blade Combat Skill book and handed it to Yu Yangyu. Yu Yangyu took the Gale Blade Combat Skill book and flipped through it. He nodded and said, this is a rank 4 combat skill. It's quite valuable. However, the Wind and Thunder Sword technique is Medicine Valley's signature combat skill. Master needs to discuss this with the elders. Do you have anything else to say? Disciple still has a few words to say, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a moment. The great elder propped himself up with his walking stick and sat up straight. He then looked at Night Sorrow and asked, what do you have to say? The sacred cauldron scripture belongs to Medicine Valley. After I found it, I handed it over and returned it to the sect. However, the Heaven Essence Chi refining scripture and Gale Blade technique are not. The reason why I brought them back to the sect and didn't go to Tianji Tower or other places to exchange for combat skills is because I feel that as a disciple of Medicine Valley, I should contribute to the Medicine Valley and work hard to improve the strength of the Medicine Valley. This is what a disciple should do. For the sake of the sect's disciples and for the sake of the sect's strength, it is the responsibility of Master and the elders, Night Sorrow said after organizing his thoughts. You mean that you have done what a disciple should do, and the rest is up to the sect to think for the disciple, right? The great elder asked. Yes, my senior brother and senior sister have been worried about me for more than a year. I want to do something for them. Night Sorrow nodded. Yu Yangyu waved his hand at Night Sorrow and Yang Lei. You two go back first. Master will discuss this with the elders. If the sect does not agree to this request, Master will bring the ancient book back to you. Night Sorrow bowed and left the hall. Yang Lei bowed to Yu Yangyu, cupped her hands to the first elder and second elder, and then left the hall. She bowed to jianghu as a master and disciple, but she didn't need to bow to the first elder and second elder because she was also an elder. 13. You dare to say anything? Aren't you afraid that the first elder and second elder will get angry? The disciples of the Medicine Valley should put the sect first. Yang Lei slapped Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow smiled and shook his head. I'm telling the truth. I should return the Holy Cauldron scripture, but these two ancient books are different. My request will not harm the interests of the Medicine Valley. The two chatted as they returned to Taishan Peak and arrived at Aoi's Bamboo Grove house. You two are back. Have you seen Master? Aoi greeted the two when she saw them. At the same time, she asked the maid to prepare food. Yes, sixth senior sister. How many disciples have you had? You must be very busy. Night Sorrow looked at the group of third-generation disciples who were practicing combat skills. It's okay. It's quite lively. 13. Your cultivation speed is a bit ridiculous. Aoi smiled. Then the three of them sat down to chat and drink tea. Not long after jianghu came. Night Sorrow and the others quickly greeted him. Sit down. Aoi, send someone to inform your senior brother and junior brother to come. Jianghu sat down and said. Master, what's the result of the elders' discussion? Night Sorrow asked. If they didn't agree to your request, then wouldn't they have given you the ancient books? After a discussion and asking the Grand Elder, the sect agreed that the second-generation disciples of Taishan Peak, who are your senior brother and senior sister, can go to the library and choose any combat skill. However, only your eldest senior brother and ninth senior sister are qualified to choose the Wind and Thunder Sword art. Your eldest senior brother is the Peak Master and ninth senior sister is an elder. The sect can make an exception and agree to it. Others can't. Jianghu said. Master, what happened? Aoi sent someone to inform Gong Xian and the others. When she returned, she was still confused. Then Yang Lei explained the situation to Aoi. 13. It's not good for you to do this. The sect's elders will have opinions about you. Aoi said. She knew that no disciple dared to negotiate with the sect. It's nothing. The first elder and second elder understand that 13 is doing this for the good of Taishan Peak. They just think that 13 is a little independent and has a sense of belonging to Taishan Peak. They don't have any other opinions. Jianghu shook his head. During the elders' discussion, some of the elders had mentioned Night Sorrow's loyalty to Medicine Valley. However, the first elder and second elder refuted it directly. Without loyalty, such an ancient book would not be taken back to Medicine Valley. They also ordered that such arguments were not allowed. Soon Gong Xian and the others arrived. Only Emo Chen wasn't there. Emo Chen had already gone into seclusion. Everyone who arrived knew what was going on. It was hard for them to thank Night Sorrow. 13. Aren't you going to choose a battle skill? Gong Xian asked. I'm not going to choose. I don't want to bite off more than I can chew. I already have what I need. Night Sorrow shook his head. That's not right. 13. You've trained in spear techniques, but you don't have any close combat skills. The xuanhuan consumes too much energy. Third senior brother doesn't lack any battle skills right now. You should go and choose one. Xuanhuan said. Yang Lei smiled and told him about Night Sorrow's destruction fist technique. I didn't think 13 would know to hold back. Aoi nodded in satisfaction. She was afraid that Night Sorrow would be so careless that he wouldn't hold anything back. Jianghu had dinner with his disciples. He only left after dinner. After Jianghu left, Night Sorrow bid farewell to Aoi and the others. Then he rode his xianxia to Danding Cliff. His progress in meditation was slow, so he decided to cultivate at Danding Cliff. Original B version 6a, Su Chenbai was very angry. He knew that the Medicine Valley had convened an elders' meeting, and even the Grand Elder was involved. However, he didn't know what the meeting was about. He suspected that it had something to do with Night Sorrow and Yang Lei, but he couldn't find out anything. He sent a message to the Golden Flame sect. He felt that it was meaningless for him to continue staying in the Medicine Valley. He could feel that he was being ostracized. This wasn't the first time he sent a message to the Golden Flame sect, but the Golden Flame sect didn't reply. After Night Sorrow rode his xianxia to Danding Cliff, he let xianxia return to the Bamboo Grove house on Taishan Peak. Someone would take care of it there. Then he greeted the fourth elder, Lu Qinyun, who was guarding Danding Cliff. It's so late. You still want to climb Danding Cliff? Lu Qinyun asked in surprise. Yes. Your disciple's cultivation has improved recently. I plan to settle down here. Sorry to disturb you, fourth elder. Night Sorrow bowed. All right, take care of yourself. Lu Qinyun nodded. He knew that he wouldn't be able to rest tonight. If something happened to Yishan after he fell down, then he would be held responsible. After 2 hours, Yishan had returned to his position of 4,800 meters. This was something he wouldn't have been able to do in the past. Now that his 10,000 Daos tome had advanced to the 5th level of the muscle-strengthening realm and his true chi had reached the peak of the 7th level of the element-gathering realm, his strength had greatly increased. This time, climbing up was much easier. Chapter 189. At 4,800 meters, Yishan stopped tossing and turning. He sat down cross-legged and began to meditate. Lu Qinyun let out a sigh of relief when he saw Night Sorrow sitting cross-legged. He was really nervous. After cultivating for a while, Night Sorrow stood up and used xuanhuan to consume his chi and myriad Dao tomes energy. He then continued to cultivate and refine his cultivation. After dawn, Night Sorrow began to cultivate his battle skills under the pressure. He cultivated Destruction Fist arts and Dragon Leap steps. While Night Sorrow was cultivating, a man was looking at Night Sorrow on the 4,400-meter platform. He was Xianxia. He had been the Yuan gathering champion for a long time, so he had some merit points. After entering the core condensation stage, he came here to refine his cultivation. Last night he was meditating, so he didn't know Night Sorrow was here. After dawn he found Night Sorrow's shadow. This made Xianxia feel shocked and helpless. After he entered the core condensation stage, he only climbed 4,400 meters. He knew that there was a lot of pressure in between, but now Night Sorrow was cultivating this movement skill and battle skill at a distance of 4,800 meters. The difference was too great. When Night Sorrow was tired, he would rest and drink a bowl of wine. The rest of the time, if he wasn't meditating, he would be cultivating his battle skills. The degree of craziness also made Xianxia understand why Night Sorrow's cultivation increased so quickly. After dawn, disciples of the Medicine Valley came to climb Danding Peak to cultivate. However, they were all quite a distance away from Night Sorrow. Even a core condensation stage cultivator would find it hard to climb 4,800 meters. Lan Yu also came. She was 200 meters lower than Xianxia. Originally, both of them were 4,200 meters high. Xianxiao's battle skills were better than hers, so he dominated the Yuan leaderboard. Her luck wasn't too good. Just when she had the chance to dominate the Yuan leaderboard, Xianxia, who was extremely talented in battle, appeared. Now that Xianxiao's cultivation had advanced to the core formation realm, it was reasonable to say that the first place of the Yuan leaderboard should be hers. However, Night Sorrow appeared. She could only continue to stay in the second place. Seeing Lan Yu's arrival, Xianxiao's body flashed and landed 4,200 meters away. "You're here. If I don't come, I'll be left behind by you," Lan Yu said. "That guy is there too. He's practicing his fist technique up there. I really admire him. When I entered the core condensation stage, climbing up to 4,400 meters is my limit. Now he is running up to 4,800 meters. This is too much." Xianxia said with a wry smile. "What kind of talent does Night Sorrow have? His strength is incomparable. His arms and legs have at least 10,000 gene of strength." Lan Yu said. "How would I know? When I was meditating last night, he wasn't there yet. This morning I found him cultivating up there." Xianxia said. "The feeling of powerlessness is too strong. I'm not afraid of opponents with strong talent. As long as they work hard, they can catch up and surpass them. It's this kind of talented and crazy person that makes people feel helpless." Lan Yu looked up at Danding Cliff and shook her head. Night Sorrow forgot himself and practiced his cultivator's killing fist technique. He fought against the pressure from Danding Cliff. When his Zhen Qi was exhausted, he continued to meditate. Using the pressure from Danding Cliff to refine his cultivation at the peak of the 7th level of element gathering stage, Night Sorrow planned to break through when the sky turned dark. During the day, Night Sorrow really didn't dare to, because he was afraid that other people would disturb him when climbing Danding Cliff. But in the middle of the night, there wouldn't be any newcomers. Besides, climbing in the middle of the night was very dangerous. If one's hand or foot slipped, they would fall down. No one would climb in the middle of the night. After being refined by the pressure from Danding Cliff, Night Sorrow's Zhen Qi, which was already at the peak of the 7th level of element gathering stage, became even purer. Using the energy from the 10,000 Dao tome in his body to withstand the pressure from Danding Cliff, he used all his Zhen Qi to break through. Night Sorrow had no problems in breaking through. He even expanded his Dantian to its limit. In the second half of the night, he successfully broke through to the 8th level of element gathering stage. After breaking through to the 8th level of element gathering stage, Night Sorrow continued to use the energy of the 5th level of muscle strengthening stage to withstand the pressure from Danding Cliff and stabilize his cultivation. Night Sorrow sat for an entire day. Only when the sky turned dark did he get up to practice his fist and movement techniques. Then he continued to meditate. The energy from Danding Cliff was too pure. In just one day, Night Sorrow had stabilized his cultivation at the 8th level of element gathering stage. The night passed. When the sun rose, Xianxia and Lan Yu both went down. They didn't have enough merit points and couldn't continue to cultivate here. Night Sorrow was in good condition. He stood up and wanted to practice his fist techniques. After a moment's hesitation, he decided to climb up and use up all his xianxia and energy from his body. Then he would go to a higher place to cultivate. After making his decision, Night Sorrow began to climb. Once he started climbing, the platforms below and above Danding Cliff became very lively. Night Sorrow was currently at a height of 4,800 meters. This was a height that was difficult for element gathering stage cultivators to reach. It was a record. But now Night Sorrow continued to break through. This time Night Sorrow was much stronger than the last time. Last time, his xianxia was at the 6th level of element gathering stage, and his 10,000 Dao Tome was at the 4th level of muscle strengthening stage. Now his 10,000 Dao Tome was at the 5th level of muscle strengthening stage, and his xianxia was at the 8th level of element gathering stage. Night Sorrow's cultivation increased, but the difficulty of climbing also increased. Every time he climbed a certain height, the pressure was different. Now, Night Sorrow was under a lot of pressure, so his climbing speed was also slower. When he was 15 meters away from 4,900 meters, Night Sorrow's xianxia was used up. He used his remaining muscle strengthening stage energy to withstand the pressure, and relied on his body's energy to continue climbing. After climbing a step, he needed to catch his breath, and then he continued climbing. The pressure was too great. I'm at the core condensation stage. 4,500 meters is still a huge chasm. This guy is already at 4,900 meters, and he even has the strength to reach 5,000 meters. Xianxia bitterly smiled. This guy has a secret. Look, he doesn't have any xianxia left, but there's still energy circulating in his body. Lan Yu reminded Xianxia. Women were very careful, and Xianxia didn't notice this point. How can this be? No wonder this guy is so ferocious. 2 types of energy, this isn't just a matter of 1 + 1 = 2. Xianxia said with some surprise. That's right. Lan Yu said as if she had discovered a new continent. Just when the two were surprised, Night Sorrow climbed to the 4,900-meter platform. He lay on top of it to recover his strength. He didn't even have the strength to sit up. It must be known that this height was not something an ordinary core condensation stage cultivator could reach. After an hour, Night Sorrow recovered to his peak state. Looking up at the top of Danding Cliff, Night Sorrow hesitated. He didn't know if he should continue climbing or not. 7G0 only and 1K original version yo. 4G0 only and 6K original version yo. The pressure at the end of every 1,000 meters was the greatest. Night Sorrow was worried that he would fail. When he climbed to 4,900 meters, he estimated that if he didn't break through, he wouldn't even be able to reach 4,850 meters. Chapter 190. Oh my God. Martial Uncle Night is going to climb again. Seeing Night Sorrow move, the disciples of the Medicine Valley became excited. Xianxia and Lan Yu, who hadn't left yet, looked at each other with shock in their eyes. 5,000 meters was a height that only the late core condensation realm could reach. This animal, if we don't attack him, he'll feel uncomfortable. Lan Yu scolded. Be careful with your words. If the elders find out about your martial uncle, you'll be scolded. Xianxia said. If they know, then they know. I'm just scolding him. Lan Yu insisted on her point of view, not caring about the expressions of the other onlookers. Xuanhuan also heard it, but he didn't say anything because he felt that Lan Yu was right. Night Sorrow was an animal. When Night Sorrow began to climb, a man came to Danding Cliff. He looked to be in his late 20s. Seeing this person, many disciples stopped talking. Everyone knew this person. He was Lin Tianjue, who was originally first on the alchemy list. However, some time ago he fell to second place. He was defeated by Taishin Peak's disciple, Mo Qin, and lost the first place. This was what everyone knew. What they didn't know was that the Merit Hall just announced that Taishin Peak's disciple, Mo Qin, was removed from the alchemy list because he entered the 4th rank. Nodding to Xuanhuan, Lin Tianjue took out his identity plate and began to climb the cliff. His speed was extremely fast. The first 4,000 meters were almost like flying. It didn't affect him at all. What was really affected was that his speed dropped from the 4,000 meters. Although he was strong, he couldn't ignore the pressure. After Night Sorrow rushed to the 4,950 meters, he couldn't hold on any longer. The pressure from Danding Cliff made him put in a lot of effort for every step he took. There were only 20 meters left before the 5,000-meter platform. Night Sorrow couldn't hold on any longer. He knew that he wasn't strong enough. This 5,000-meter platform wasn't something he could challenge. Although he knew that he couldn't reach the 5,000-meter platform, Night Sorrow didn't give up. He continued to climb up. He wanted to keep up with his previous challenge. Soon, Lin Tianjue reached the 5,000-meter high platform. On the 5,000-meter high platform, Lin Tianjue wiped the sweat off his forehead and calmed his breathing. Then he came to the edge of the platform and slowly drank from a small pot of wine. At the same time, he sized up Night Sorrow, who was trying his best to climb. There was contempt and disdain in his eyes. First equals $, what's wrong with him? He's already at the peak of the core condensation realm, yet he still has the face to look at others like that? Noticing Lin Tianjue's gaze, Lan Yu was a little angry. One had to know that Night Sorrow's ranking on the Yuan leaderboard was above hers. Now that someone was looking down on Night Sorrow, of course she was unhappy. Human nature is unpredictable. Yunxiao coldly snorted. If one stood at the bottom of Pill Tripod Cliff, it would be very difficult to see the situation on the cliff. Yunxiao, Lan Yu, Lu Qinyun, and some other disciples had all climbed to the opposite side of Pill Tripod Cliff. Looking at Night Sorrow, who was looking up and continuing to climb Pill Tripod Cliff, he saw Lin Tianjue's expression and was instantly enraged. No man would be able to stand being looked at with disdain while standing on top of another person's head. With a low growl, Night Sorrow continued to climb up. He couldn't stand others standing on top of him and looking at him with disdain. With a low growl, the veins on Night Sorrow's arms bulged as he struggled to climb up the platform. He's looking for trouble. Martial Uncle Yi will remember him for doing this. Xuanhuan is an example. He's strong now but in the future. Lan Yu coldly snorted twice. While they were talking, Night Sorrow climbed up the 5,000-meter high platform. There was no pressure on the 5,000-meter high platform, but Night Sorrow didn't have any strength. He took out the reincarnation spear to support his body. Say your name. No one can stand on top of my head and show off. Night Sorrow coldly snorted and said, Lin Tianjue, Xuanhuan's senior brother. I just want to tell you that you shouldn't be too arrogant. Lin Tianjue coldly said, I'm arrogant. You can say that I'm arrogant, but let me tell you, I'll remember today's contempt. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he directly sat down cross-legged and began to cultivate. At this time it was useless to say more. He wasn't Lin Tianjue's opponent. The gap between the two was too big. Instead of arguing, it was better to cultivate. Actually, Martial Uncle Yi and Su Mu are the same type. The difference is that Su Mu will bite whoever he sees. Martial Uncle Yi will definitely bite whoever provokes him. Lan Yu said, You mean that guy might end up like Xuanhuan? That's right. With the character of a Taishan Peak disciple, he can't be taken advantage of. Yunxiao nodded. Seeing that Night Sorrow was meditating and ignoring him, Lin Tianjue also felt bored. He couldn't continue to provoke him and continued to climb. When he reached 5,200 meters, he began to cultivate. There was a time limit for him to come here. It couldn't be compared to Night Sorrow's unrestricted cultivation. Lin Yeshang recovered a little bit of strength and jumped onto the first small platform below the 5,000-meter platform to start cultivating. Disperse, disperse. Why are you so excited to see him climb? If you have the ability, go up yourself next time. Lu Qinyun began to drive people away. While Night Sorrow was cultivating, the disciples of other Taishan Peak elders came to Always Bamboo Grove and told Night Sorrow about the conflict between Lin Tianjue and Lin Tianjue. Damn, he's courting death. I'll go and deal with him. After the breakthrough, Mo Qin, who was celebrating with Aoi, immediately became angry. I'll go with you. How shameless of him to bully 13 with his peak core condensation cultivation. Chu Lingfei was also unhappy. Like Mo Qin, she treated Night Sorrow as her younger brother. It wasn't because Night Sorrow helped her and Mo Qin, but because she really liked Night Sorrow. Okay, go. Taishan Peak isn't afraid of trouble. Aoi nodded. After Mo Qin and Chu Lingfei arrived, they waited for Lin Tianjue at the bottom of Danding Cliff. Seeing Mo Qin's arrival, the disciples cultivating at Danding Peak, whether they were coming or leaving, knew that things had gotten out of hand. The news spread quickly and people came one after another. Among them, Tianyue Peak disciples went to inform Luo Daoyuan. Luo Daoyuan was worried that something would happen to Lin Tianjue, so he came too. Aya, not bad. Go back and call the Peak Master or my ninth senior sister. Seeing Luo Daoyuan come, Mo Qin smiled and turned to a second-generation disciple of Taishan Peak. He wasn't afraid of things getting out of hand. If Tianyue Peak wanted to play, Taishan Peak wasn't afraid. Hearing Mo Qin's words, Luo Daoyuan's face changed. Not to mention Gong Xian's identity as Taishan Peak's Peak Master, his cultivation wasn't something he could compete with. Gong Xian usually looked quiet, but if anyone provoked his junior brothers or sisters, he would definitely explode. Not to mention the even more unreasonable Yang Lei. Junior brother Mo, is this necessary? Luo Daoyuan said. Senior brother Luo, what do you mean by necessary? Mo Qin said with a smile. This matter was caused by Tianyue Peak disciples, so it was up to them to solve it. Chapter 191. Junior apprentice brother Mo, we're all youngsters. It's unavoidable for young people to be hot-headed. Why lower yourself to his level? Luo Daoyuan said with a smile. If that's really the case, then I, Mo Qin, definitely wouldn't mind. But senior martial brother Luo, do you think it's appropriate for someone at the peak of core formation to talk about qi with someone at the 8th level of element gathering tier? To put it bluntly, this is a matter of personality and character. Senior brother Luo, since you have come and spoken, then don't make things difficult for him. Apologize to 13 and this matter will be over. Mo Qin said. He didn't want to hurt Luo Daoyuan's face too much. After all, they were from the same sect. Alright, when he comes down, I'll deal with this matter. Luo Daoyuan nodded. He could ignore Mo Qin, but there were still people behind Mo Qin. If he got into a fight with Mo Qin because of Lin Tianjue, the people of Taishan Peak would be able to fight their way to Tianyue Peak. He had no doubt about that. Just as Luo Daoyuan finished speaking, Gong Xian, Yang Lei, Aoi and Xuanhuan arrived on their green eagles. Peak Master Gong is here. It's a small matter. Luo Daoyuan greeted him. Although the two of them were of the same generation, their status in the Medicine Valley was too different, so it was impossible for them to talk to each other as equals. Being disrespectful to martial uncle is no small matter, Gong Xian said in a low voice. Upon hearing Gong Xian's words, Luo Daoyuan froze for a moment. It would be fine if they were of the same generation, but Lin Tianjue was one generation younger than Night Sorrow. With Gong Xian's power as the Peak Master of Taishan Peak and the Guardian of Medicine Valley, he could be directly punished for offending his superiors. Why in initial hair when they arrived, Night Sorrow had already noticed them. Lin Tianjue had also seen the flying demonic beasts. It was impossible for him not to notice them. Lin Tianjue knew something was wrong when he saw a group of green condors coming over. That was the symbol of the second-generation disciples of Taishan Peak. He hurried down Danding Cliff. When he reached the bottom of Pill Tripod Cliff, he would go to Luo Daoyuan's side. Lin Tianjue, don't you have anything to say? Mo Qin asked. I wonder what senior uncle Mo means? Lin Tianjue asked. Then I'll let you know what that means. Seeing Lin Tianjue playing dumb, Yang Lei's body flashed and her right hand slapped Lin Tianjue's face. Lin Tianjue's expression changed, and he raised his right hand to block it. When Lin Tianjue tried to block her attack, Yang Lei's right hand instantly sped up and slapped Lin Tianjue's face, causing him to tumble backward. If you stand up for the disciples of Tianyue Peak, then I will stand up for my junior brother, Yang Lei said coldly. Let him go. Since the elders stopped him, Night Sorrow could only stop cultivating. After coming down from Danding Cliff, Tianyu wasn't by his side. Night Sorrow could only walk. After walking for half a day, Night Sorrow returned to the Bamboo Grove house on Taishan Peak. Sixth senior sister, why is this place decorated with red silk? Night Sorrow asked when he saw the red silk hanging on the bamboo inside the bamboo grove. Your 11th senior brother is getting married. He doesn't have enough space, so he's hosting the guests at 6th senior sister's place, Always said. Why didn't you inform me about 11th senior brother's wedding? Night Sorrow was a little anxious and regretful. He didn't attend such an event and didn't send his blessings. It's nothing. Your 9th senior sister made the decision for you and gave Ling Fei a face-retaining pill. A lot of people were jealous. All the female disciples in the Medicine Valley asked if you have any more face-retaining pills. Also, Crepe Myrtle's eldest disciple, Tang Xianxian, expressed her dissatisfaction with you, Always said with a smile. I didn't do anything to her. Why is she dissatisfied? Night Sorrow was a little puzzled. Crepe Myrtle invited you but you didn't go. You didn't give them face, Alway explained. It's nothing good or important. I don't have to go, Night Sorrow shook his head and said. That's not appropriate. It's a gift that demands reciprocity. Since they invited you, it's rude if you don't go. I heard it's Peak Master Ye's idea. Alway felt that Night Sorrow should go. Otherwise it wouldn't be polite. Do I have to go? Night Sorrow was a little hesitant. You have to go. However, you have to control yourself. Although they are like wolves and tigers, they won't eat you, Alway said. Chapter 192. We all got it. Your eldest senior brother and ninth senior sister got the Sword of Wind and Thunder. The rest of us also got what we needed. We all got the combat skills that we wanted, Qingji said. That's good. Night Sorrow nodded. He really wanted to help Alway, but he remembered what Yang Lei said. If he helped Alway, it would be hard for him to face the other senior brothers. He could only treat them all equally. The best way to help them was to get the battle technique. What do you plan to do next? Cultivate with your junior nephews? Alway asked with a smile. No, the fourth elder said that I can't stay at Danding Cliff to cultivate. He asked me to rest before going. I plan to go back to the Dragon Spring courtyard and cultivate there for a while before going to Danding Cliff. Night Sorrow told her his plan. Chapter 0, Section 1. Okay, but you have to go to Crepe Myrtle first. Also, when you were cultivating at Danding Cliff, a few people came looking for you. But they were all looking for you to drink. Nothing serious, Alway said. Looking for me? Who came looking for me? Night Sorrow asked. One was the disciple of the North Peak, Qin Zhen. The other was the disciple of Danding Peak, Xuanhuan, Alway said. They're all friends. Is Qin Zhen a disciple of the North Peak now? Night Sorrow asked. I chatted with him for a while. He came to Medicine Valley last year to cultivate with the master of the North Peak. He was planning to participate in this year's disciple recruitment ceremony, but he broke through to the Yuan gathering realm before the ceremony. He's very shy and took a long time to answer my questions. Alway told him about her meeting with Qin Zhen. That's good. I'm relieved. He's not good at communicating, but he's a good person. Night Sorrow said with a smile. He knew Qin Zhen well. He knew that Qin Zhen was not good at communicating with others. It's rare to find someone you approve of. He's not bad, but he's also Qin Zhan and Qin Hai's younger brother. You crippled Qin Hai and hurt Qin Zhan. Won't he mind? Alway still didn't understand Qin Zhen's mentality. Night Sorrow told Alway about the conflict he had with Qin Zhen and Qin Hai on the way from Red Flame City to Danding City. He also told her that Qin Zhen was willing to stand on his side. Yeah, he wouldn't have come to see you if there was a barrier in his heart. The fact that he came to see you means that he sees you as a friend. Alway nodded. As for Xuanhuan, Night Sorrow knew that he was a careless person. He was probably here to drink with him. Sixth senior sister, I'm going to see Qin Zhen. With his personality, I don't think he has many friends. Night Sorrow said. Yes, you going to see him might be very important to him. Also, you should hurry up and go to Crepe Myrtle. If you don't go, you'll lose your momentum. Actually, it's not a big deal. It's just a formality. Alway said with a smile. She could imagine Night Sorrow going to Crepe Myrtle. It must be a wonderful scene. Night Sorrow nodded helplessly. Since Alway asked him to go, then he had to go. Otherwise, it would be a problem in the future. Crepe Myrtle invited him. If he didn't go, then he wouldn't be giving them face. In the future, he would offend the people of Crepe Myrtle. Night Sorrow didn't want that to happen. While Night Sorrow and Alway were chatting, Tianyu came back with a deer in his claws. That was his prey. When he saw Night Sorrow, Tianyu threw the deer to the ground and ran to Night Sorrow's side. He rubbed his head against Night Sorrow's body. When Night Sorrow was cultivating at Danding Cliff, Tianyu went over to catch prey. However, he didn't get close. He just looked from afar. Now that he saw Night Sorrow coming back, he became excited. 13 This Tianyu is a big boss. He lives in the bamboo grove and has a few servant disciples serving him. He can't even be touched by others. Alway said with a smile. She liked Tianyu very much. She also knew that this was the nature of strange beasts. It was very difficult for them to accept humans. Now, other than Night Sorrow, he wouldn't accept anyone else. Sixth senior sister, I'm going to the North Pole Peak. I'll be back later. Night Sorrow said as he jumped on Tianyu's back. Okay, I'll go to Crepe Myrtle on the way. He always said with a smile. Sixth senior sister, why don't you come with me? Night Sorrow was a little scared to go to Crepe Myrtle. This invitation was no different from a challenge to him. Okay. After meeting your little friends, come back to pick me up. Alway thought for a moment and nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow had experienced a lot of things, but he had no experience in dealing with people, especially women. If Yi Xiling or Tang Chanshan threw out 10 wives, it would be hard for Night Sorrow to accept. When they arrived at the North Pole Peak, Night Sorrow explained the reason for his visit. Then a disciple brought Night Sorrow to a comfortable valley behind the North Pole Peak. That was where Yen Beiji cultivated. In the valley, Night Sorrow saw Qin Zhen, who was working hard on his swordsmanship. Seeing Night Sorrow, Qin Zhen was stunned for a moment. He waved his hand and greeted him. Then he wiped his sweat and ran to the pavilion at the back. After a while, he came out and said, "I just greeted Grandmaster. You're cultivating with the Peak Master?" Night Sorrow took out wine and poured 2 bowls. Then he took out some jerky and said, "Yes. My father is Grandmaster's disciple. Naturally, I'm the 3rd-generation disciple of the North Pole Peak. I don't need to be apprenticed. I'm just following Grandmaster," Qin Zhen said after taking a sip of wine. "That's good. If you're tired from cultivating in the future, you can come find me for a drink. If I'm not in the bamboo grove, I might be in the Dragon Spring courtyard outside of Danding City. You can find me there and cultivate there." Night Sorrow filled Qin Zhen's bowl again and said, "Okay. If I have time, I'll come find you. Also, I want to apologize to you for what happened to my cousins." Speaking of this, Qin Zhen's face turned red. He felt that the Qin family was a little too much. He knew the cause of the incident very well. "Speaking of which, I'm the one who should apologize. I was too harsh on them. I'll just avoid them in the future." After hesitating for a while, Night Sorrow gave in. He didn't want to make Qin Zhen feel uncomfortable. Since they were friends, he had to be considerate of his friend. "You're thinking too much. By the way, I'll be going back to Red Flame City soon. Is there anything you need me to help you with?" Qin Zhen asked. "No, thank you for me. If it wasn't for your help, it would have been very difficult for me to come to Medicine Valley," Night Sorrow said. "I will." Qin Zhen nodded. After drinking a jar of wine with Qin Zhen, Night Sorrow left. He was going to pick up Aoi and take her to Crepe Myrtle. After Night Sorrow left, Yen Beibei appeared. "Zhen, this is a good friend. For the past year, other than the people from Taishin Peak, he hasn't acknowledged anyone else. Cherish your friendship," Yen Beibei said. Chapter 193. Qin Zhen nodded. He didn't like to talk even when he was with Yen Beifang. "Also, your cultivation is improving faster, but it's not solid enough. Follow your senior brothers and sisters to the Empyrean Terminus Tower to do some missions, but don't come into contact with the more dangerous ones," Yen Beibei instructed again. Xuanhuan was Yen Beifang's disciple, and he was quite satisfied with him. He returned to his hometown and became the vice mayor of the city. Yen Beifang had already announced that he would be appointed as the mayor of the city. Qin Zhen was Xuanhuan's only son, but he didn't have an extravagant aura. Instead, he cultivated very hard. After he advanced before the disciple recruitment ceremony, he increased his cultivation by 1 level in a short period of time. "My disciple started cultivating with Night Sorrow. He's very hardworking and outstanding. I'm not much worse than him," Qin Zhen said after thinking for a while. "Friends don't discriminate between nobility and lowly, but you have to know that if you're on the same level, you'll feel more comfortable drinking and chatting together. Don't feel inferior and don't feel inferior," Yen Beifang reminded Qin Zhen with his life experience. Night Sorrow returned to the bamboo grove and flew towards Crepe Myrtle with Aoi. "How's your little friend?" Aoi asked. "Very good. He's working very hard. He's already reached the 2nd level of element gathering tier," Night Sorrow said. "He's very talented and has a good personality." Aoi had a high opinion of Qin Zhen. Soon Tianyu arrived at the square in front of Crepe Myrtle. After getting off the Tianyu, Night Sorrow asked Tianyu to lie down on the ground. Then he walked towards the Crepe Myrtle Palace with Aoi. "Martial Aunt Aoi is here." "What's wrong?" "Martial Aunt Night, do you need Martial Aunt Aoi's protection to come to Crepe Myrtle?" Crepe Myrtle's disciple, Huang Qian, greeted Aoi when she saw the two of them. She then glanced sideways at Night Sorrow and said, "Oh, I don't know who's who, so I'll ask 6th senior sister to come over. If there's anyone I need to introduce, please introduce them to me." Night Sorrow was stumped by Huang Qian's words. "We will all introduce ourselves." Lan Yu walked over from the direction of the main hall square, followed by some female disciples. Night Sorrow didn't know what to say. At the same time, he also knew that Crepe Myrtle's disciple wasn't someone to be trifled with. Regardless of his strength, his words were very sharp. "What are you guys doing? Martial Aunt is here." Why aren't you inviting her into the main hall? Suddenly, a woman in her 30s walked out from the main hall. Greetings, senior sister Lu. Aoi cupped her hands towards the woman. This woman was Yi Xiling's third disciple, Lu Jingyun. She joined the sect around the same time as Aoi, so it wasn't easy to differentiate between senior and junior sisters. However, she was ranked high in crepe myrtle, so Aoi called her senior sister. Junior sister Aoi is too polite. Senior sister invited junior brother Knight over. This is a bit difficult. Lu Jingyun smiled at Knight Sorrow and led the way. At the same time, she asked Huang Qian to inform Tang Xianxian. Since Yi Xiling was often in seclusion, crepe myrtle's matters were taken care of by Tang Xianxian. This was a common phenomenon in all the peaks. The older generation had to work hard to break through, while the younger generation had to train their management skills. Greetings, senior sister. I've been busy with missions and cultivation, so I didn't come over. Please forgive me. After entering the main hall, Knight Sorrow cupped his hands towards Lu Jingyun. Is that so? It's good that it's not because of other reasons. It's our master's idea to invite you as a guest. Lu Jingyun pointed at the seats and invited Aoi and Knight Sorrow to sit down. Thank you for your kind invitation, Peak Leader Yi. Knight Sorrow politely returned the gesture. How long has it been? You really don't have any respect for Master and Crepe Myrtle? A woman walked in from outside. The woman was tall and slender. Her fine black hair was tied behind her head. Her eyes were very beautiful, but there was a hint of coldness in them. She was wearing a sapphire blue dress that matched her very well. The only thing that didn't match was the layer of frost on her face. Jingy, don't say that. Maybe junior brother Knight is really busy, Lu Jingyun said. This was Crepe Myrtle and Yi Xiling's disciple Lin Jingy. She was quite strong and was quite famous in Medicine Valley. What's wrong? Do I have to come just because you invited me? Hearing Lin Jingy's words, Knight Sorrow was dissatisfied. She shouldn't treat a guest like this. Are you not giving face to Crepe Myrtle? Lin Jingy coldly looked at Knight Sorrow. Respect is mutual. If you don't give me face, why should I give face to others? Knight Sorrow coldly said. Alright Jingy, what are you doing? How can you treat your junior brother like this? Tang Xianxian walked into the hall. 13 This is senior sister Tang. Aoi stood up and cupped her hands at Tang Xianxian. Junior sister Aoi, you're too polite. Back then, Master went to talk to Martial Uncle Lu and wanted to invite you over. Unfortunately, Martial Uncle Lu refused. Otherwise, we would be dear martial sisters. Tang Xianxian sat down and said with a smile. It's still the same now. We're both Medicine Valley's disciples, so we're dear martial sisters, Aoi said with a smile. Junior brother Knight, I wanted to set a precedent and bring you to Crepe Myrtle during the disciple recruitment ceremony last year, but I didn't succeed, Tang Xianxian said with a smile on her face. Thank you, senior sister Tang, Knight Sorrow nodded and said. Now, my master still hopes that you can come to Crepe Myrtle, Tang Xianxian said. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation, above 0. Thank you, Peak Master. I'm here now, although I'm a little late. Knight Sorrow stood up and cupped his hands. He thought that Tang Xianxian wanted to invite him to Crepe Myrtle as a guest. Junior brother Knight, you must have misunderstood. My master hopes that you can join Crepe Myrtle, Tang Xianxian said straightforwardly. I'm sorry, I'm a disciple of Taishan Peak, so I can't join Crepe Myrtle. Knight Sorrow was stunned for a moment, then he refused. You really don't know what's good for you. Lin Jingy said coldly as she glared at Knight Sorrow. Well, don't you think senior sister Lin is pretty? Many Medicine Valley's disciples have their eyes on her. Master said that if you come, she'll make the decision to marry her to you. Tang Xianxian threw a bomb. It was also a big meat bun that a man would find hard to refuse, because Lin Jingy was indeed very beautiful, and her temperament was also the kind of cold and aloof. Besides, Grandmaster also said that you can choose a few more girls besides junior sister Lin. Lan Yu, who was standing beside Tang Xianxian, said with a smile while covering her mouth. Senior sister, are you gloating over my misfortune? Sometimes it's easy to be sad after joy, Huang Qian said. Yes, Master arranged it this way. They can all be with you. Tang Xianxian pointed at the other girls in the hall, including Lan Yu. This made Lan Yu a little dumbfounded. Retribution came too quickly, but fortunately, Knight Sorrow's answer made her feel a little more at ease. Sorry, unless you kick me out of Medicine Valley, I won't leave Taishan Peak. Knight Sorrow's attitude was very firm. Chapter 194. Knight Sorrow also stood up and touched the reincarnation spear with his right hand. Junior sister Lin, this isn't appropriate, right? Aoi, who had been silent all this while, stood up and said. Aoi didn't say anything even when Tang Qianxian tried to poach Lin Jingyi. However, Aoi couldn't tolerate Lin Jingyi making a move. Jingyi, sit down. Tang Qianxian shouted at Lin Jingyi. She sounded unhappy because it was indeed inappropriate for her to do this. Not liking you is my problem. However, I will remember that you don't like me. Lin Jingyi stood up and left the hall. Lin Jingyi was in a bad mood recently. She was the outstanding second-generation disciple of Crepe Myrtle. However, Yi Xiling arranged for her to be with Knight Sorrow. If Knight Sorrow agreed to come to Crepe Myrtle, then she would be in charge of receiving and comforting him. In other words, she would become a bargaining chip to win over Knight Sorrow. Lin Jingyi objected immediately. However, Yi Xiling didn't accept her objection and told her that this wasn't to make things difficult for her. Therefore, she was extremely unhappy when she saw Knight Sorrow today. 13. Someone is holding a grudge against you. Aoi shook her head and sat down. She understood that the truth was just as Lin Jingyi said. Women could not like you, but if you didn't like them, then it was a sin. Sorry, 6th senior sister. Let's go. Knight Sorrow said. He didn't want to stay here and look at other people's faces. My junior sister's personality is like this. She's a bit cold. Don't mind her. Tang Qianxian smiled apologetically. It's fine. They're all young people. It is normal for them to have a bit of temper. Senior sister Tang, if you have time, come visit me in the bamboo grove. Aoi stood up and said. Knight Sorrow and Aoi rode Tianyu back to the bamboo grove on Taishan Peak. What's wrong? Is junior brother still angry? Aoi asked. I'm not angry. I just think they're a little unreasonable, Knight Sorrow said. Not many women are reasonable, Aoi said with a smile. Not really. 6th senior sister and 9th senior sister are very reasonable, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. That's because I'm trying to reason with you. I don't need to do that with others. Mo Qin and Chu Lingfei appeared, dressed in festive outfits. Congratulations 11th senior brother. Congratulations big sister Lingfei. Knight Sorrow bowed. Thank you. Your face-preserving pill is a treasure. Thank you junior brother. Chu Lingfei reached out to help Knight Sorrow up. I'll be more careful in the future, Yi Shang said, a little embarrassed. My cultivation has delayed my business. Mo Qin smiled and shook his head. Did you go to Crepe Myrtle and get bullied? Knight Sorrow didn't say anything, so Aoi repeated it with a smile. Haha, that Lin Jingyi is a famous cold beauty. You directly rejected her, which is equivalent to slapping her face. That's why she's unhappy. Of course, she's also unhappy that you agreed, Chu Lingfei said with a smile. Knight Sorrow understood this and didn't say anything. He would just stay away from Crepe Myrtle in the future. After eating with Aoi, Mo Qin and Chu Lingfei, he was about to leave. There's something I need to remind you. After a while, the disciples will be able to return home. Are you going back to Bamboo Garden Town? Aoi asked. I'm going back. I'm going to see Old Man Gu and Uncle Nyo. You guys can call me when the time comes. After making his decision, Knight Sorrow rode on Tianyu and left Taishan Peak. He was going back to the Dragon Spring Courtyard to cultivate. 13 is really hard-working. I have to work hard too. Lingfei's cultivation is higher than mine, Mo Qin said while rubbing his nose. All these years, he had been chasing Luo Sihai and had delayed a lot of his cultivation time. However, his combat ability was strong and his foundation was solid. When he returned to the Dragon Spring Courtyard, it was already midnight. After feeding Tianyu, Knight Sorrow went to cultivate. When Knight Sorrow returned, Hua Yunping knew. When he saw Knight Sorrow's cultivation, he was shocked. Knight Sorrow's cultivation speed was too fast and solid. After cultivating for a night, Knight Sorrow went to the dining room for breakfast. When he arrived, Hua Yunpeng was already eating. Grand Elder is here. Knight Sorrow sat across from Hua Yunpeng. Hua Yunpeng smiled and nodded. I realize that living here is a pleasure. The environment is pleasant and I can eat delicious dishes every day. Then Grand Elder can stay here. Yi Shan took the food that Hai Luo brought over and began to eat with his head lowered. Knight Sorrow didn't flatter Hua Yunping just because he was the Grand Elder. He lived his life as usual. After eating, he went to cultivate his spear art and fist art. He had the opportunity to learn the Wind Thunder Sword art. When he submitted the book, the sect would allow it as long as he mentioned it. However, he didn't like sword arts. He felt that sword arts weren't as domineering as spear arts and weren't suitable for him. While cultivating his spear art and fist art, Knight Sorrow didn't forget to cultivate his movement technique. He wanted to combine cloud movement technique and dragon leap steps. Watching Yishang cultivate was a form of enjoyment for Hua Yunpeng. The beauty of strength was evident on Yishang's body. Every time after cultivating, Night Sorrow would drink tea with Hua Yunpeng. When it comes to cultivating movement techniques, you might have walked into a dead end. It is very difficult to perfectly combine two types of movement techniques. Try to focus on one type of movement technique, then slowly add in the other type of movement technique. You can integrate it bit by bit, Hua Yunpeng said. Only 4 is Z proper version Z, M equals T, E is all FC is P hashtag thief version N. Okay, thank you Grand Elder for your guidance. Night Sorrow nodded. This kind of open front robe was quite comfortable to wear. That night, Night Sorrow didn't leave. He stayed at Yang Lei's place. What they didn't know was that a fire phoenix flew over and landed some distance away from Danding City. A woman wearing a bamboo hat entered the city, found a beast carriage and left Danding City. After cultivating for a night, Yang Lei asked Shen Ziming to bring the disciples to Longquan Courtyard. She didn't want to stay in the mansion, so she wanted to bring the disciples to Longquan Courtyard to cultivate. After all, Longquan Courtyard was big. Even if they didn't use it, they would be free. Night Sorrow and Yang Lei arrived first. Shen Ziming brought over 30 disciples and rode the beast carriage. When Yang Lei saw Hua Yunpeng, she was shocked. The previous Valley Master, the current Grand Elder, was actually staying at Night Sorrow's place. She also knew that this was a peak stage 5 practitioner. In the Medicine Valley, he was definitely the #1 person. Even the Grand Elder of the Medicine Valley couldn't compare to him. One must know that after entering the 5th Order, every step forward was extremely difficult. A mid-5th Order killing an early 5th Order was as easy as chopping vegetables. How strong was Hua Yunpeng at the peak of the 5th Order? Yang Lei did not know. Seeing Hua Yunpeng, Night Sorrow cupped his hands. Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and then bowed. Yang Lei, you're not as good as your junior brother in this aspect. Just say hello and let me know that you're here. There's no need to be so formal. Hua Yunpeng said with a smile. Disciple understands. Yang Lei nodded. Aren't you the city lord of Danding City? Are you very free? Hua Yunpeng asked. Yes, I've arranged everything for the 2 vice city lords as well as the elders and protectors. They're in charge of the area. Something happens, I'll look for them. So disciple has nothing to do. Yang Lei said with some embarrassment. This is the way of managing people. Not bad. Hua Yunpeng didn't blame Yang Lei. Instead, he felt that Yang Lei did a good job. Night Sorrow didn't stay with Hua Yunpeng and Yang Lei for long. He played with the silver fox cub for a while and then went to cultivate. In the following days, Night Sorrow stayed at the Dragon Spring Courtyard to cultivate. When he was cultivating his battle skills, he brought Xianxia and the silver fox to the Celestial Lake to cultivate. This cultivation lasted for more than half a month. Night Sorrow's cultivation level rose sharply. Although he was still some distance away from the 9th level of Element Gathering Realm and the 6th level of Muscle Strengthening Realm, he wasn't far away. Yang Lei told Night Sorrow that the Spirit Gathering Formation at Taishin Peak was about to open. She asked Night Sorrow if he wanted to go. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow decided not to go. The Spirit Gathering Formation wasn't as effective as the one at Danding Cliff. If they were comparing the speed of absorbing energy, the Spirit Gathering Formation was faster. However, after absorbing energy, one's cultivation level would be unstable. It wasn't as solid as the one at Danding Cliff. Moreover, the absorption speed at Danding Cliff wasn't slow either. Night Sorrow had been back at the Dragon Spring Courtyard for more than half a month. He planned to return to Danding Cliff to cultivate and raise his cultivation level to the 9th level of Element Gathering Realm and the 6th level of Muscle Strengthening Realm. Haha, you have the authority to cultivate without limit at Danding Cliff. Indeed, you don't need to care about the opening of the Spirit Gathering Formation, Yang Lei said with a smile. After chatting with Night Sorrow for a while, Yang Lei led her disciples to Taishin Peak. Night Sorrow didn't care about this opportunity, but Yang Lei's disciples all needed it. After Yang Lei left, Night Sorrow and Hua Yunpeng stayed together and drank tea. Night Sorrow, this silver fox isn't simple. You need to stay by his side often. You don't need to do anything. Just let him get familiar with you. In the future he'll be of help to you. But it's not very convenient. Night Sorrow was a bit worried. The beast taming space Qianyu was given to him by Tai Tsang. How could he still have a beast taming space crystal? I don't have a beast taming space crystal here. How about this, I'll give you some spirit stones. Go to Tianji Tower and exchange for one. Hua Yunping smiled and took out a few high-grade crystals. And / spirit stones can be exchanged? Then I have some here. There's no need to trouble Grand Elder. Night Sorrow said. He really didn't lack spirit stones. In Lu Shan Venerable's cave, he had obtained quite a lot of spirit stones. Take it. These spirit stones are useless to me. You can use them. I want to remind you that there must be a limit to your cultivation. Go to Danding Cliff and raise your cultivation level. Stabilize it for 2 days and come back. Don't just stay up there and not come back down, Hua Yunping said. Grand Elder, but I'm really in a hurry to enter the core formation realm, Night Sorrow said. Chapter 196. Night Sorrow didn't hide anything from Hua Yunping and told him about his plan to get the attention of the Black Organization of Tianji Tower. Now that it's a purple organization, it's indeed necessary to break through the Black Organization. Tianji Tower is a force that has 9 regions and 18 prefectures. If our Medicine Valley has someone in it, it'll be good for the Medicine Valley. However, I still think that you don't have to destroy your foundation just because you're in a hurry. Hua Yunping still insisted on his opinion. Okay, I'll listen to you. Night Sorrow nodded. Hua Yunping wouldn't harm him. Since he said so, it made sense. Your cultivation speed and experience are obvious. They're blind if they don't want you. Hua Yunping said. Disciple will keep Grand Elder's words in mind. Yishang bowed and said. After bidding farewell to Hua Yunping, Night Sorrow took Silver Fox and Chanyu to Tianji Tower in Danding City. He exchanged a beast-taming crystal with Enforcer Dong and then went to Danding Cliff in the Medicine Valley. You're here again. Take it easy, Lu Qinyun said. Just then a person walked out of the thatched hut in Danding Cliff. Night Sorrow recognized this person. He was Elder Su, who was originally guarding this place. At this time, Elder Su's aura had changed. The aura of a sunset was gone. Instead, it was a violent aura. Thank you, Elder Su said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow returned the gesture. He knew that Elder Su had successfully entered the 5th rank and had a long lifespan. Then he let Chanyu and Silver Fox enter the beast-taming crystal. Night Sorrow began to climb Danding Cliff. When Night Sorrow reached the 4,800-meter platform, he didn't continue climbing and began to cultivate. He continued to climb. Night Sorrow felt that it was very difficult. The 5,000-meter platform wasn't suitable for cultivation because there was no pressure. He still had to come down a little. Watching Night Sorrow cultivate, Elder Su and Lu Qinyun looked at each other. This guy still treats cultivation as food. The Medicine Valley has a successor, Elder Su said. Night Sorrow didn't know about their evaluation of him. He was cultivating on the platform at 4,800 meters. If it was in the past, Night Sorrow would have caused a stir among the other disciples who came to cultivate. But now it was no longer the case. Everyone knew that there was a special person like Night Sorrow in the Medicine Valley. Night Sorrow was the same as before. He would cultivate his Jin Qi in the Myriad Daoist Tome for a while, and then he would cultivate his spear arts and fist arts for a while. He would consume his energy and then continue cultivating. When he was thirsty or hungry, he would eat fasting pills and drink some wine. On the 4th day of Night Sorrow's cultivation, someone came to the platform he was on. Looking at the person, Night Sorrow was stunned for a moment. Then he cupped his hands and said, Night Sorrow greets senior sister Lin. Was a woman. She was Lin Jingyi, a disciple of Yi Xiling, the Crepe Myrtle Peak master. She was also the woman who didn't have a good impression of Night Sorrow. I heard that you reached the 5,000-meter platform. Why are you lying here now? Lin Jingyi looked at Night Sorrow calmly. It was hard to tell whether she was happy or angry. This place is already very suitable for me. There's nothing good up there, Night Sorrow answered. She narrowed her eyes and looked at Night Sorrow for a while. I don't understand. Why don't you like me? Senior Sister Lin, what are you talking about? I just don't want to leave Taishan Peak. It has nothing to do with anything else, Night Sorrow said with a bitter smile. But everyone in Medicine Valley knows that Night Sorrow doesn't like women from Crepe Myrtle. This is a fact, Lin Jingyi said. Then Senior Sister Lin, what do you think I should do? Should I go to Crepe Myrtle one day and apologize? Night Sorrow thought for a while and sighed. Let me think about it. Anyway, this matter isn't over so easily. I'm the only one who doesn't like you. Why don't you like me? Lin Jingyi snorted coldly. True Qi burst out of her body and she floated up. She only grabbed with her hands and kicked with her legs. Night Sorrow looked up and was stunned. Because the weather was hot, Lin Jingyi was wearing a skirt. Night Sorrow could see her white legs very clearly. Unfortunately, Lin Jingyi turned her head and looked down. The two of them looked at each other from top to bottom. Then Lin Jingyi realized something was wrong. She pressed her skirt with one hand and landed on the platform 4,900 meters above. Night Sorrow, you're a pervert. You and I can't exist under the same sky. Night Sorrow had the urge to vomit blood. What the hell is going on? I didn't mean it, but in fact I did have a pervert's behavior. Unable to talk back, Night Sorrow could only continue to meditate and ignore Lin Jingyi's words. Explain? How can I explain this kind of thing clearly? Lin Jingyi's roar surprised the disciples who were cultivating at Danding Cliff. They didn't know what was going on. Some time ago, there was a crazy rumor that Night Sorrow didn't like the girl from Crepe Myrtle. But now it wasn't the case. Lin Jingyi and Night Sorrow were only 100 meters apart. Something must have happened. Otherwise, Lin Jingyi could have chosen to scold Night Sorrow when she wasn't at his height. Or she could have scolded Night Sorrow when they were at the same height. What's going on now? The most important thing was what Lin Jingyi said. She said that Night Sorrow was a pervert. If they were enemies, if they were rivals, she wouldn't have scolded him like that. It was like flirting. You little bastard, you little pervert. Why aren't you talking? Seeing that Night Sorrow didn't explain, Lin Jingyi was even angrier. She was sure that Night Sorrow had seen something he shouldn't have. She didn't know how to explain, so she didn't speak. Night Sorrow pretended that he didn't hear anything. He just didn't reply. Night Sorrow didn't reply. She calmed down. Then she realized that her words were inappropriate. The disciples from the other platforms were looking over. She spat at Night Sorrow. Lin Jingyi had no choice but to go up. Ahem. Yishang, this brat is quite popular with women, Elder Su said with a smile. He became famous at a young age. How can he not attract women? Little bastard, little pervert? Ah, interesting. I wonder how Valley Master would feel if he knew. Lu Qinyun said with a smile. If Xiling knew, it would be interesting. Elder Su nodded. The Xiling he was talking about was Crepe Myrtle's peak master, Yi Xiling. At a height of 5,700 meters, there were people from Tai Xian Peak, Mo Qin and Chu Lingfei. They had come together to practice cultivation. They didn't know what had happened, but they knew that Yishang had provoked Lin Jingyi from Crepe Myrtle Peak. Just as the two were looking at each other, Lin Jingyi arrived at a platform not far from them. Senior Sister Lin, what's going on? Why are you so angry? Mo Qin greeted. Go back and ask your pervert junior brother what he did. Lin Jingyi said angrily. Chapter 197. If you have time, why don't you ask your precious junior brother what he did? Lin Jingyi yelled angrily. Mo Qin sighed. Senior Sister Lin, let's be frank. It was your idea to ask Night Sorrow to go to Crepe Myrtle. It was also your idea to ask him to have 10 wives. Night Sorrow didn't want to leave Tai Xian Peak because he looked down on you? Isn't that a bit far-fetched? In that case, don't you think that my master thinks highly of him by offering such a condition? Who else in the Medicine Valley is qualified to do so? He didn't appreciate it. If that's not looking down on him, then what is it? My master asked me to receive him, but how did he treat me? Lin Jingyi said angrily. From your point of view, he was wronged. But from my junior brother's point of view, he didn't do anything wrong. Isn't that right? Mo Qin was also a bit conflicted. It wasn't easy to reason this out. Women cared about face. Night Sorrow didn't want to go to Crepe Myrtle, which was a slap to Lin Jingyi's face. Lin Jingyi was known as the youngest and most outstanding second-generation disciple of Crepe Myrtle. Let's not talk about this. He was just being a hooligan. If you don't believe me, you can ask him yourself. Anyway, this isn't over. Lin Jingyi continued to rush up, but she used her true qi to push Luo Kun up. What should we do? Mo Qin looked at Chu Lingfei. There might be something we don't know. Let's go and ask. Chu Lingfei didn't have any good ideas. She could only ask Night Sorrow. When the two arrived at the platform where Night Sorrow was, they directly asked. Night Sorrow didn't know how to answer. He could only lower his head and remain silent. 13, just say it. What's the matter? Senior brothers and senior sisters will make the decision for you. Seeing that Yishang wasn't speaking, Mo Qin was a bit anxious. She's right. I'm a hooligan. Night Sorrow said angrily. You're a hooligan? Crepe Myrtle Peak offered 10 wives and you rejected them all. Who would believe that you're a rogue? What's going on? Mo Qin asked with a frown. Senior apprentice Sister Lin was climbing up from here. I looked up and saw that she was wearing a skirt. Yi Shan hesitantly recounted what had just happened. Mo Qin didn't know what to say. He didn't know what to say. Finally he looked at Chu Lingfei. Lingfei, let's continue to cultivate. And don't waste your merit points. 11th senior brother, didn't you say you'd help me? Seeing Mo Qin and Chu Lingfei fly up hand in hand, Yi Shan grew anxious. As for the others, it's useless even if you look for eldest senior brother. Mo Qin left Yi Shan with his back and a few words. When they returned to the original platform, Mo Qin and Chu Lingfei looked at each other and smiled. They knew that this wasn't a big deal. Lin Jingyi wouldn't make a big deal out of it. She was a person who cared a lot about her reputation. If she couldn't accept this, she would at most kick Night Sorrow a couple of times. If it's possible, let Master propose marriage for 13. Senior sister Lin is only a few years older than 13. In the world of cultivation, a few years is nothing. Both of them have high aptitudes. It won't be a problem for them to reach the 5th level in the future. In the hundreds of years of life, supporting each other is the most important thing. Chu Lingfei said. What Chu Lingfei said was the truth. Only ordinary people cared about age when they got married. Cultivators cared about how far they could go together. A void inquiry stage cultivator would certainly not marry a essence gathering realm cultivator. The difference in lifespan between the two was too big. That's impossible. Mo Qin shook his head. Why is it impossible? Chu Lingfei asked, puzzled. When she arrived at the Dragon Spring courtyard, Xikong Chuyu had already left. Therefore she did not know who Xikong Chuyu was. Mo Qin told her about the relationship between Xikong Chuyu and Night Sorrow. You're saying that 13 likes Xikong Chuyu? Chu Lingfei asked. Mo Qin shook his head. I don't know. 13 might not know either. But with Xikong Chuyu's existence, it's hard for him to accept other women. Chu Lingfei shook her head. She was also helpless. No one could help Night Sorrow with this matter. After cultivating for half a month at Pill Cauldron Cliff, Night Sorrow's cultivation base had reached the peak of the 8th level of Essence Gathering Realm. His myriad Dao scripture had also reached the peak of the 6th level of Muscle Strengthening Realm. Night Sorrow did not plan to stay at the 4,800-meter platform. He directly rushed to the 4,900-meter platform. Then he recovered to his best state and charged towards the 5,000-meter platform. Last time, Night Sorrow originally could not reach the 5,000-meter platform. It was only because he was stimulated by Lin Tianjue that he managed to do so. This time, Night Sorrow's cultivation base and myriad Dao scripture had improved by quite a lot. After charging with all his strength, Night Sorrow rushed to the 5,000-meter platform. On the 5,000-meter platform, he cultivated until the sky turned dark. After glancing around and making sure that there was no one cultivating and that there was no one climbing below, Night Sorrow decided to enter seclusion to break through. Pill Cauldron Cliff was the best place to cultivate in the Medicine Valley. Although it was not helpful for advancing, it was indeed the best place to improve and stabilize one's cultivation base. This was also the reason why Night Sorrow wanted to break through here. After breaking through, it would be a good place to stabilize one's cultivation base. When Night Sorrow was breaking through, Mo Qin, Chu Lingfei, Gong Xian and the others were standing in front of the Spirit Gathering Formation at Taishan Peak. The third-generation disciples had been in there for half a month. It was after they went in that Mo Qin and Chu Lingfei came to Pill Cauldron Cliff to cultivate for a few days. Since they had nothing to do, Mo Qin told them about Lin Jingyi's dissatisfaction with Night Sorrow and the reason why. What is this about? Oi was a little helpless. Not to mention other things, Night Sorrow was indeed in the wrong for seeing something he should not have seen. No matter where he went, he could not explain it. Yang Lei snorted and said, "It's nothing. She can do whatever she wants. She was the one who didn't dress properly. Who can she blame? 13 didn't want to see it." "Ninth junior sister, you are being unreasonable," Xuanhuan said with a smile. "Reasonable? How is this unreasonable? It was Crepe Myrtle who was unreasonable first, okay? If you don't join them, you are looking down on them? Then if they shout, all the disciples of the Medicine Valley will leave their original peaks and go to them. If you don't go, you are not giving them face? Does everyone have to go?" Yang Lei glanced at Xuanhuan and said, "Ninth junior sister's words are not very pleasant to hear, but they are reasonable. Let's not interfere in this matter for now. Let them do what they want. It will be fine as long as we don't force 13 to do anything," Gong Xian said. "Eldest senior brother, we can't interfere now. Some gossipy disciples talk about this every day. I think Crepe Myrtle will not tolerate it. Even if they don't deal with 13 halfway, I think Master Yi and senior sister Tang Qianshan will have other tricks up their sleeves," Mo Qin said. Chapter 198. In the span of 2 nights, Night Sorrow raised his cultivation level to the 9th level of element gathering tier and the 6th level of muscle strengthening tier. At the same time, he also stabilized his cultivation level. After cultivating to this level, Night Sorrow did not intend to continue staying at Danding Cliff. Hua Yunping had reminded him that it wasn't appropriate for him to cultivate too quickly. With a wave of his arm, he summoned Qianyu. Night Sorrow's body flashed and landed on Qianyu's back. Then he flew directly toward Taishan Peak. This made the disciples of the Medicine Valley at the foot of Danding Cliff very envious. Those who had flying beasts were so free and easy. They could come and go by flying. Other than that, the others couldn't fly as they pleased like Night Sorrow. When they came, they had to register their identity plates and merit points. The elders guarding Danding Cliff would remind them how much merit points they had and how long they could stay. If one dared to lie down on Danding Cliff without any merit points, the consequences would be severe. When they left, they would have to settle the score. There was no need for Night Sorrow. He did not need contribution points to cultivate at Danding Cliff, nor did he need to register or settle accounts. Looking at Night Sorrow riding Qianyu away, the disciples of the Medicine Valley were envious. However, there were also some who were angry. This was the disciple of Crepe Myrtle. Tang Qianshan, Lin Jingyi and Lan Yu were at the bottom of Danding Cliff. Tang Qianshan and Lin Jingyi had come to settle the score with Night Sorrow, while Lan Yu had come to watch the show. However, Night Sorrow had ridden Qianyu to escape, not giving them a chance. Chase him. Lan Yu was not afraid of the chaos, so she immediately urged her master and martial uncle. XV$A is the only 0Q1B original 7 version carrot, and the others are all pirated carrot. His demonic beast is fast. Your master and your martial uncle's mounts are as fast as it. How can we catch up to Taishan Peak? Tang Qianshan looked at Lan Yu angrily. Are we just going to let him run away? Lan Yu asked. Junior sister, what do you think? This matter is actually a matter of wrangling. No one can say who is right or wrong. Even if we stop him, there is no good way to solve it. If you feel that you are at a disadvantage, then let Master go to the Valley Master and ask him to come to Crepe Myrtle to propose marriage. Tang Qianshan said with a smile. No, I want to take care of her. Hearing Tang Qianshan's words, Lin Jingyi blushed and hurriedly objected. That's true. You don't even like a little brat. Then I'll go back first. But Jingyi, let me remind you. Even if you catch him, you can't go too far. Otherwise, the consequences will be very serious. If you really make Taishan Peak angry and have a conflict with Crepe Myrtle, neither you nor I can bear the responsibility. Tang Qianshan reminded Lin Jingyi before she left. To be able to manage Crepe Myrtle, Tang Qianshan wasn't a brainless person. She could deal with Night Sorrow by doing something harmless. But if she went too far, then it would be a big problem. How could she expect Taishan Peak to tolerate it? Gong Xian, Yang Lei and Xuanhuan were all bad-tempered. If she went too far, Taishan Peak would definitely retaliate. Martial uncle, what do you think we should do? If we continue to cause trouble, it will become a big problem. Lan Yu said with a smile. Are you gloating? Lin Jingyi turned around and glared at Lan Yu. After returning to Taishan Peak's bamboo grove, they didn't see anyone. After asking around, Night Sorrow also went to the place where the spirit gathering formation was located. 13 is here. 9th level of element gathering formation. Very good. Yang Lei went to Night Sorrow's side and patted Night Sorrow's shoulder. She put her arm around Night Sorrow's shoulder to make herself more comfortable. There's nothing to say about this speed. There's no precedent like this in the Medicine Valley. However, 13, your 9th senior sister is so close to you. If your 9th senior sister's husband finds out in the future, it'll be easy for him to destroy you, Shi Tianlin said with a smile. Now, half of Yang Lei's body was supporting Night Sorrow's shoulder. Dare? If anyone dares to bully 13, I will not let them go. 8th senior brother, you are picking a fight. Yang Lei glared at Shi Tianlin with her beautiful eyes. 13, the last level of every level is a crucial stage, especially from element gathering formation to core formation. You have to go through it steadily. Gong Xian reminded Night Sorrow. He was the eldest senior brother and had the responsibility to teach Night Sorrow. Thank you for your reminder, eldest senior brother. I will pay attention. When I reach the peak of 9th level of element gathering formation, I will go to Danding Cliff to consolidate my cultivation. I will not easily touch the core formation stage. Night Sorrow nodded. Also, when this batch of disciples comes out, we will arrange for them to return home. You should also go back to your hometown. After all, you have been out for more than a year, Gong Xian said. Will 6th senior sister and 9th senior sister still come with me? Night Sorrow asked. Okay, but we have to arrange for the disciples first. It will be better to give some to the other senior brothers and junior brothers. It will be easier for us, Always said after thinking for a while. During the disciple recruitment ceremony a few days ago, Taishan Peak accepted a few hundred people. Originally it was divided among Wu Qi, Nan Nan, and the others. However, Gong Xian asked for half of it back and gave it to the other second-generation disciples of Taishan Peak. However, it was inappropriate for Yang Yu's disciple not to give it to the other second-generation disciples. Yang Lei's disciples were also taken away when they returned to Taishan Peak. Before the apprenticeship ceremony, it was normal for disciples to be swapped. How about this, senior brothers and junior brothers, you guys take care of the other directions. 9th junior sister and I will take the route between Red Flame City and South Sky City, Always said. That's fine. We have few inner disciples here. Let Su Zhonglin help arrange more. Gong Xian nodded. It was easier for the newcomers of other peaks to return home. There were many outer disciples, and outer disciples and law enforcement disciples were enough to accompany them. However, Taishan Peak was different. There were no outer disciples other than the second-generation disciples. Night Sorrow did not continue to stay there. He planned to leave since the spirit gathering formation would not be completed for half a month. 13. It's troublesome for you to feed Tianyu every day. Senior sister has refined a beast pill. You can feed Tianyu with it. Alway took out a bottle of pills and handed it to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded and took it. He knew about the beast pill. It was a level 3 pill for tamed beasts. It could provide the tamed beasts with energy to survive and grow. Night Sorrow also wanted to refine it, but he did not have the ability to do so at the moment. Go back to the Longquan courtyard. Don't run around. Sometimes you are not the one looking for trouble but the one looking for trouble. Besides, I heard that the Qing Shui sect has learned that you cut off one of their young master's arms. They came to the sect to ask for him some time ago, Gong Xian said. They wanted to rob 13. How dare they come to us after suffering a loss? Yang Lei was a little angry. The Qing Shui sect did not think so much. They may think that 13 is just an ordinary disciple. They are feeling superior now because the Golden Flame sect has been trying to win them over. They think they are qualified to challenge our Medicine Valley. Gong Xian said with light flashing in his eyes. The Qing Shui sect did not understand the situation and jumped around randomly, which had aroused Gong Xian's anger. What did Master say? Xuanhuan asked. Chapter 199. The Qing Shui sect is getting out of hand. We should take some time to deal with them, said Xuanhuan. It's my fault again. Night Sorrow was a little depressed. The Golden Flame sect declared war on the Medicine Valley when he cut off one of Zhangping's arms. Now that he cut off one of Miao Xiaojuan's arms, they also came to him. It's not your fault. If someone bullies you, you should fight back, said Wu Qi while looking at Night Sorrow. Don't cut off the arms next time. Just cut off the heads. They are all bastards. If we don't teach them a lesson they will forget their names, said Aoi. But it's all my fault, said Night Sorrow guiltily. Gong Xian then explained to Night Sorrow that the Medicine Valley would take action against the Qing Shui sect no matter what happened. The Qing Shui sect and the Golden Flame sect had bad intentions. The Medicine Valley would not allow the Qing Shui sect to join forces with the Golden Flame sect to overthrow the Medicine Valley's ruling position in this area. After chatting for a while, Night Sorrow left the Taishan Peak with Tianyu and headed for the Longquan Villa. It was dark when he returned to the Longquan Villa. Night Sorrow was surprised when he did not see Hua Yunping when he went to the dining room for dinner. He remembered that Hua Yunping used to come to the dining room for dinner on time. Hai Luo, didn't you see the Grand Elder? Night Sorrow asked while eating. I haven't seen him for 2 days. But when I went to clean the room I found his robe was still there. He shouldn't have left, said Hai Luo. Okay. Night Sorrow nodded and continued eating. Young master, your robe is really beautiful, said Hai Luo while looking at Night Sorrow. Really? I think it's very comfortable. Night Sorrow smiled and released the silver fox cub at the same time. Night Sorrow could not release it when they were outside, but he could do it when they were back in the Longquan Villa. Silver Fox, who was released, jumped excitedly onto Night Sorrow's shoulder. It wasn't small anymore. It was more than 3 feet long, but its weight was nothing. Night Sorrow let it continue to lie on his shoulder. It didn't affect his eating. At night he cultivated his genuine qi and the myriad Tao Tome. During the day he cultivated his spear art and fist art. During the night sorrow he played with Tianyu and Silver Fox. His days were rather leisurely. On this day Night Sorrow was cultivating the Annihilation Fist art when he suddenly sensed something was wrong. He noticed that the energy in and around the monastery had become berserk. Even the sky was churning with energy that was rushing towards the celestial lake. This situation made Night Sorrow extremely shocked. He immediately dashed towards the celestial lake. Night Sorrow didn't know what was going on when he arrived near Skywater Lake. He could only feel the energy gathering towards a certain area of Skywater Lake. Just as Night Sorrow was about to continue searching for the source of the energy stabilized. The celestial lake returned to its calm state, and the surroundings of the Longquan Villa were once again sunny. This made Night Sorrow very puzzled. However, he didn't think too much about it and returned to the martial arts field to continue cultivating. When it was time for dinner, Hua Yunpeng appeared. Seeing that Hua Yunpeng had returned, Night Sorrow stood up and greeted him. Yanggi Geoffrey P***. Look at little $Z says asterisk. Not bad, you're at the peak of the elemental gathering realm. You can cultivate while slowly stabilizing your cultivation, Hua Yunpeng said as he sat opposite Night Sorrow. Grand Elder Hua, you seem to have changed. Night Sorrow looked at Hua Yunpeng and said, your senses are very accurate. I felt something from your body, so I completed a breakthrough, Hua Yunpeng said with a smile. Congratulations, Grand Elder. Night Sorrow stood up and bowed to Hua Yunpeng. Night Sorrow was extremely shocked. He knew that Hua Yunpeng had reached the peak of the 5th rank long ago. If Hua Yunpeng said that he had broken through, then he must have entered the 6th rank of Venerable Realm. Actually, I should thank you. First of all, you found the Holy Cauldron scripture. Secondly, I also felt something from you, so I naturally crossed the bottleneck. Hua Yunpeng helped Night Sorrow up and said, Congratulations, Grand Elder. Aoi and Yang Lei also came at this time. They were very happy to hear Hua Yunpeng's words. You're here. Sit down and have a few drinks with me, Hua Yunpeng said. He was very happy that he had crossed the bottleneck for many years. 6th Senior Sister, we don't have to worry about the Golden Flame sect making trouble now that we're at war with the Green Water sect, Yang Lei said. What's going on? Hua Yunpeng asked with a frown. Then Yang Lei told him about the recent movements of the Medicine Valley and the Golden Flame sect. There's no need to start a war. It's a big deal that the Grand Elder has succeeded in his breakthrough. As long as we announce it and hold a celebration in the Medicine Valley, the Green Water sect will naturally behave, always said. 6th Senior Sister, the Grand Elder has just advanced. If we announce it, won't it be troublesome if the veteran Venerable Realm of the Golden Flame sect comes to fight? They're good at eliminating hidden dangers in advance. Yang Lei was a little worried that the Golden Flame sect would attack Hua Yunpeng, who had just advanced. Don't be afraid. Although I've just advanced, they can't kill me easily. After entering the Venerable Realm, even if the 8-Dragon Cauldron doesn't approve of me, I can still activate part of its power. If the Golden Flame sect wants to fight, let them come, Hua Yunpeng said with confidence in his eyes. That's great. Our Medicine Valley finally has the ability to intimidate others. In the future, 13, you don't have to be restrained anymore. If anyone dares to provoke you, just kill them, Yang Lei said happily. Needless to say, this conflict has something to do with you, right? Hua Yunpeng looked at Night Sorrow with a smile and asked. Night Sorrow was a little helpless. He could only say that he had chopped off Miao Xiaojuan's arm. It's fine. If you have anything to do in the future, just do it. I'll make the decision for you, Hua Yunpeng said to Night Sorrow. After drinking some wine, Hua Yunpeng left. His advancement was not only his own business, but also a big deal for the Medicine Valley. Announcing it to the world might bring him death, but he wasn't afraid. The Medicine Valley needed him to stand up for it. That's great. The Medicine Valley finally doesn't have to suffer anymore, Yang Lei said excitedly. Then Yang Lei and Aoi said that they were here to bring their disciples back home. However, this time they didn't do it themselves. They directly asked the Taishan Peak's outer court manager to handle it. In addition, they also asked the Yunhai Peak's forces in the secular world to escort them. This time, not many disciples of the Yunhai Peak returned home, so the outer court disciples of the Yunhai Peak in Danding City had nothing to do. The next day, when Night Sorrow, Aoi, and Yang Lei arrived in Danding City, they received the news from the Medicine Valley. The Medicine Valley's great elder had entered the Venerable Realm, and the celebration would be held in a month. The news spread in all directions. Everyone knew that this was the Medicine Valley's way of showing off their strength. This was the Venerable Realm's deterrence. They also knew that this was a storm. You're tuning in to the Sword Dance in the Vast Sky YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.